understand
Can
now.
you be a grown-up about this?
No.
Okay. Yeah, this week sucked, dude. It was hot as ball sack outside all week, and I don't know. It just dragged ass for me this week really bad.
Yeah, same.
I don't know what was going on, but
Let's just bring everybody down to start. Shitty weeks. But no, I mean, you're right. It ended up getting hotter than shit out, dude. Hotter than all living shit. Because Sunday was fantastic.
Sunday was really nice,
Even
yeah.
when we went, Matt, what was it, Monday, Tuesday?
Monday and Wednesday.
I think it was Sunday was the day we went, and it was
Sunday we
was one-
went,
that was
and
a
then
nice
Monday
day.
we went, and then Wednesday we went.
Yeah.
And
by went they mean they went walking and or went outside walking around doing stuff,
And yeah.
playing like you're 5 years old.
Yep.
Yeah, dude, sandboxes and
Crayons.
Tonka trucks.
I talked to Sam's mom. Can Sam come out and play?
Yeah. He called the house
She
phone.
said as soon as he gets off at work at 6:30, clocks out, he can come out. But yeah, dude, this week sucked. I'm so glad it's a weekend already, and I got some good topics to talk about, so I'm gonna bring them up while we're sitting here instead of just talking about walking and talking.
Well, let's just walk and talk a little bit. What do you got? You rushing into talk? Okay, what do you got?
All right, so everybody knows Kate Spade died, and so did Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
They both
Hey,
killed
look,
themselves.
right now, it's easy to make jokes. I'm not making.
I'm not
any.
making a joke. I'm just saying it's.
No, I'm not either. I'm just saying it.
It's-
Right now, it'd be very easy to make like an edgy joke just because somebody
Right,
died. And I'm
or
not
too
doing
soon.
It. No, I'm not doing
I
it.
just think it's crazy that
I'm not above it. I'm
two
just not doing
huge
it.
celebrities that are like, they're huge, dude. They're huge.
Yeah,
celebrities.
they're definitely high profile for sure.
And yeah, dude, they're just. I can't believe that two of them have. Relax. Can't believe two of them.
Stop.
Can't believe two of them actually like committed suicide. It's like everybody knows people die in threes, so it's like
That's funny you say that because I was just thinking that they always say
in the
the
celebrity world,
aforementioned the hypothetical they
the
they
we.
die in threes, but I mean they can always pin somebody whether they come up with a B-lister or somebody. They always find a way to make it seem like three within a rapid succession.
Yeah, because
but-
people die all the time.
But here's the fucked up thing with this one: 2 suicides.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If someone's gonna commit suicide,
Right.
someone was talking about it last night. It's like I was reading online. They're like, once if someone else dies, well, then the next morning wake up and Anthony Bourdain dies, and it's like, what the fuck?
Well, did you guys hear or see this? Literally, the day before he killed himself, I read and I don't know who keeps these statistics. I didn't look into them. I just read the headline, obviously.
Yeah.
But they said that since 1999, suicide rates have gone up 30%.
yeah, I
just-
actually heard the
I
same. Yeah.
just heard that too, man.
The day before Anthony Bourdain kills himself.
Well, you know what's crazy? So like he was filming an episode for his show with like one of his really good friends. That's who found him.
Yeah.
Like I didn't hear details of like the gory
What
details,
was the
if
show
you will,
called?
but
Was it his cooking show or was it his traveling
it
show?
was
Whatever. it was?
the Parts Unknown show, the CNN show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, where he like travels around and
That's
like.
actually not a bad show. I've heard actually.
No,
some
it's good.
stuff. You know,
I've watched
Yeah.
a lot of those. Those are really
I'm
good.
gonna be honest. I didn't even know who the fuck Anthony Bourdain was until I watched a podcast with him on Joe Rogan. Of course, that's where I see a lot of stuff, and it's like, this guy's actually pretty cool. Like he's a chef. He travels
Right.
the world. He does a lot of stuff. It's like I never even knew this guy who he was. He's actually pretty badass.
That's a shame, dude. I've been not that I followed him closely for years, but he's always been around. Like like back when cable was bigger, it was just like if I saw his show was on, there's literally nothing else on. I'd flick it on
Top
because
Chef?
it was nice. No, not Top Chef. I liked his traveling show more.
The Parts Unknown show.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know.
His ratings are those shows ratings are gonna just go up to the roof now because they just got done with the last season or whatever it was or the one he's doing. So now they're
Right.
trying to debate should they put the show out or not. But the reason I brought it up it just proves that what people have been saying all along, or at least my parents have always said this to me. It's like money doesn't bring you happiness. Like my dad used to say, you can have all the money in the world, and yeah, it makes things easy and convenient because it really does. You can get whatever you want. There is no stress that comes with it. But at the end of the day, it doesn't make you happy.
Right.
Right. So it proves your point. Even if you have everything you want, with money wise, it doesn't bring you happiness. But for the people that have everything with family and stuff, most of the time they're the ones that don't have a lot of money. So really, they're more rich than the people that actually have the money that are depressed. So it's kind of depressing to see that Kate Spade.
God bless us all, everyone.
It's just kind of depressing to see that, like Kate Spade,
Tiny Tim.
you know, close to being like a billionaire in money, and her and her husband were like separated for like 10 months, and apparently like she's been depressed for a long time.
Well, I just heard this phrase today. I'm high functioning depression. I figured it's
Right.
always existed, but that's the first time I've heard a label on it. And
Well,
it's like, yeah, man. I mean, look, people, you really don't know anybody. You know, that's all I'm saying.
Well,
is you don't
Yeah,
know
what's going on internally?
There's a lot of
Right.
people that are really good at hiding it, and there's a lot of
Right.
people like, for example, comedians like Robin Williams, prime example. People that are super that like that be around people that make them happy and make them laugh are the ones usually the ones that are super depressed.
Well, I will
The
say
sad
though.
clown,
Well,
yeah.
it's like it's like Eckert. He was the same way.
I do want to say though, as far as Robin Williams, he did have that mental condition that was deteriorating, and he
Right.
knew he was deteriorating. And honestly, I don't blame anybody if it's like, if you live in a place where assisted suicide is legal and you have something terminal. Because I don't know, man. I know my grandma had Alzheimer's, and it was just sad to watch. And
Yeah.
I know that if I ever go down that same path, it's like, please, it's just like, if I'm not myself anymore, just end me. Like, I don't want to live in like some la la land
I
where
mean,
I
did
don't
you
know
guys-
up from down.
I know Matt probably did, but I don't know if you did last night. But did you watch the Stanley Cup game or whatever?
No, I did not.
All right. Well, of course, I tuned in for the last third period. I watched the first and second a little bit because I was gaming and stuff. But of course, I wanted to see Ovechkin. I want to see TJ Oshie win because he's been.
I'm very glad that TJ Oshie won a Stanley Cup. It just sucked it wasn't with the Blues.
Well, it's
man.
whatever,
But yeah, he
it's good.
deserves
He
it.
does deserve it. He's a great guy for St. Louis.
Hometown hero.
The reason I'm bringing it up is because when they got interviewed after the game, they said, aren't you happy when the cup? He's like, I'm more excited and happy because my dad's here to see me because he has Alzheimer's. That's why I brought it up, or whatever. And he's like, he doesn't remember shit, pretty much. And he was about to cry, like saying it because his dad's been his backbone for him to get wherever he wanted in hockey, like his rock, pretty much. And he's
How
like,
old is his dad? Do you know?
I think he's in his late 50s or like something
Oh,
like
shit.
that.
Dude, early onset Alzheimer's
Yeah, so it's
is
like-
just a tragedy.
So
Yeah,
he's
that's
like,
crazy.
He's like, I know he won't remember a lot of stuff, but he'll remember this. And it's like, that's crazy to think about. Like, you could be in your 50s and just be not remembering stuff. That's terrible, man. It's just terrible.
Well, so like, what do you think your consciousness is like? Because like your current state of mind is kind of like built up from all these memories over time. Like everything that
Yep.
to be is like in the past in memory.
Well, they-
Like
well, they-
I'm just
that's
curious
what
how
makes
you operate.
that's what makes you.
Right, exactly.
Well, they say there's no cure for it, but there's these people there's a lot of research goes into it, and you see a lot of people that say, like, reading things, like, triggers things from memory. Like, of
Or I've
course-
seen with music too.
Right. It'll trigger, and it'll come back for like a state of like maybe an hour or two, but then like all of a sudden like they just snap
They-
out of it and
they're
forget it
zonked
again.
out.
Well, they
again,
also
yeah.
say scent is a big trigger memory, but I
Huh.
will say I'm no neurology expert, but it's about neural pathways, and it's just like a breakdown of those.
They're
And
just
they
dying
do
off,
say
pretty
for
much.
people who think that like you're at risk, or if you're at risk for Alzheimer's, it's like if you do puzzles and shit, like are just like just challenge your brain
Like,
consistently.
increase your cognitive
Yeah,
ability and
what
skill,
that
yeah.
does is that
Strengthens
like
it.
it strengthens your neural pathways in your brain, and it just makes new connections, because that's the thing. Like Alzheimer's is a degradation of those connections. So it's like
Right.
if your neural pathway is strong enough, it can reroute longer. I'm not saying that you're gonna beat Alzheimer's
that
with
makes
crossword puzzles,
That makes
but
sense, though.
you can help delay it. Like that's what
Yeah,
at
keep
least
sharp.
doctors say. You can stay sharp for a while, but then once you get to the later stages, it's obviously you're gone.
It's
But
something my wife worries about because her grandma had it, her mom might get it. I mean, maybe I don't know if it's dementia. I think it's Alzheimer's. And,
Alzheimer's is a form of dementia.
Yeah. So and she's worried that she might get because they're forgetful. It's like, you know what? She does a lot of crossword puzzles and does a lot of what's it called, like games where like board games, like where you're like spelling shit out and doing stuff like
Scrabble.
something like Scrabble. Yeah. So she knows about that kind of stuff, which is kind of funny. Her and her mom are like really into it.
Well, good. I mean, good. I mean, my grandma had Alzheimer's, and I mean, I see things in family members. I'll admit that it just scares me, and it's just like, and I
Yeah.
know that my memory's kind of weird, because it's like I'll remember some stupid shit, but it's just like I'll forget something I heard like literally,
Isn't it-
5
isn't it-
minutes ago,
isn't it
5
weird
days
where
ago.
you're
Like,
like sometimes when I'm like out in the middle of nowhere or like I'm just doing something random, something will just weird memory would just get triggered and I'll just remember something crazy and it's like, where the hell did that come from? And I'll remember it for like a while, and then it'll just disappear again, and something else
Yeah.
would come up, and it's like, why did I think of that?
No,
And it's probably like you're saying, something that you smelt or did probably triggered it or did
I've-
something.
I've had like the same thing with just like really odd associations that like trigger some like it's just like a certain piece of something someone says or something that will jog a memory or something that's like not associated at all in context, but like yeah, just odd association.
It's
I'm
crazy.
just happy when it's not an embarrassing thought or
Right.
something that's
Yeah.
like cringy. That's like, oh yeah, I remember in high school I did this cringe.
Shit your pants doing a pull up.
It is crazy though.
Didn't somebody do that?
I think
Somebody
so.
shit their pants in school.
It's crazy to think about that. What do we unlock like half our brain there? What do we only use like? 10
You watched that Goggins today?
I did.
It wasn't that something.
It was really
Dude,
cool. We'll get into
Yeah.
that. But
Okay.
I was thinking it's crazy that still till 2018 we haven't even figured out how to actually unlock other parts of our brains. And you see the people who have like, what do they call it? It's a mental disability.
Savant.
No, well, it's like savant, whatever. But they actually use like 20 or 30% of their brain because they're so super smart. But Asperger's is one of them. Like when people are super
Yeah.
super intelligent, but they have no social skills
autism.
or autism, right?
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
like Asperger's is like a high functioning
Right.
form of it.
It's crazy
Yeah.
if they're interested in one thing. Like there's a kid at my work that is, and he can name and tell you anything about baseball from the beginning of the time till now. If I was like, what's Mark McGuire's stats for his entire his rookie season, he'll be like, boom, and just tell me. It's like, dude, insane, But he can't climb a ladder because he has Asperger's or whatever it is, and they have no balance or whatever.
The human brain, man. Let me just say that. What a thing to behold. I mean, because really, all our bodies are a bag of meat that holds, like, our brain and just has, like, neural stimulators. And it's just like,
I think one day someone's going to figure out how to unlock more of our brain. Because the people that actually they figured out that are super really intelligent that can still be social, they actually have locked other parts of their brain, but they don't understand how they did it.
Yeah, they're using because I've heard like the whole 10%, you only use 10% of your brain adage is like you're using like 100% of your brain, but like it kind of like bounces between
Yes,
different
yes.
areas.
Right.
because it's like when you say 10%, I'm sure a lot of people think, oh, the front 10% of my brain is all that works. But it's like, no, it's 10%-ish all around.
Right.
At all times.
But you
Right.
got to figure too, though, is because you're what is there? The id, ego, super ego. Oh no, those are the psychological terms. There's all I know is the what is it, like the pituitary, like the inner brain, like the stuff that like keeps your heart pumping, like the automatic stuff that you
Right.
can't control. Like that was what formed first, and then it was just like on top of that was what was built. That like is your conscious and like forward thinking and all that shit.
Yeah, because like how many different areas you've taken like the anatomy classes? How many areas of the brain?
Dude,
are there?
I was a
There's,
semester away from an associate's in psychology. Actually, I took 4 or 5 psychology classes, and then I got into medical shit, and I took anatomy
Right.
1 and 2.
It is crazy. It's crazy how many. I've noticed
Sheep's
this too.
brain.
Like how many. It's crazy to me how many books there is on the human body and anatomy and stuff. Just for everything, there's so much stuff that goes into everything, and then every year new stuff comes out, and it's like, as a doctor, whoever you're doing, it's like you have to stay up on all that kind of stuff, or you're gonna be lost in a couple of years. It's the same thing with IT, right? How fast that kind of
Yeah,
stuff moves. I
definitely.
mean, technology's
Well,
probably done a lot of it.
I see it at my job. I've actually played I no part at all because I'm not clinical, but without giving too much away, it was just like I am privy to clinical trials, and I've just seen some amazing things like in the world of like cancer and like infusion treatments, like stuff for like. Just I don't know, man. It's just really amazing medical technology.
It is.
And just seeing stuff that there's not even codes out for this shit yet, but yet they're just in clinical trials trying it. It's
I
like I
think-
got to see that.
Right.
Well, I think two things, and I think we've talked about this before, probably not in the podcast, but we've talked about it, Sam, is I think stem cell research
Sancho.
is going to be...
Don't say my real name.
Sancho, I think in in years to come, stem cell research is going to be huge, right?
Yeah.
And I also think
Gene therapy.
gene therapy, with people being able to grow body parts and replace stuff like people's arms, livers, foot, whatever that's got, they even grow
Dude,
without
3D
them.
printing has got me really excited, especially because you think, isn't that what you do for a living, man?
Yeah.
Print 3D.
Yep. In 3 dimensions.
It's
Yep.
like a 3D copy shop. What
Yeah.
was that place called?
Kinko's.
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 3 Dinkos.
Man,
That was terrible.
Pop
I'm
copy.
sorry.
No, but you're
I'll
right.
shut up.
You're right. There has been some pretty cool stuff. I like the kid that last year that came out with the 3D rendering stuff for mechanical, whatever, robotic arms, feet, whatever. And he, instead of selling it and making billions of dollars, he left it open source and gave it to every company. And they asked him
that's-
why. And he said pretty much because he wanted everybody to be able to take this and grow off it because he's not looking for the money. He's looking to help people in the world. It's like, dude, that is amazing. Kind of like, what they did with like stuff with, they do want people to do like free stuff.
Well,
online.
here's a smaller one that I think has greater implication that people don't think about, but it's just like we're perfecting face transplants right now.
That's so weird.
Isn't it?
Well, in a world where nowadays that scorned lovers throw acid in other people's faces,
True.
or I know that's big in like the Middle East,
Right.
And
I do that
and
to my
you've
boss
seen
when
well,
I'm
you've
getting
seen the after effects of it. It's horrendous, but it's just
Yeah,
like.
I've seen it.
and-
Yeah, their faces look like drooped and melted.
Dude, it's
But
crazy.
have you seen the? It was this one great. I mean, okay, so like it showed over a period of time the facial transplant. At first, it looked like still like saggy skin, but over time, it just like grew in, and it's like
normal.
yeah. And could
Well,
you
it's-
imagine
it's like
getting
there's-
a skin face off of a cadaver?
Well,
Like
that's insane.
literally somebody else's face.
Oh, yeah.
That it's like face off.
Yeah,
I was
face
saying
off,
the
man.
same movie, The Face Off, and they switch face with the laser,
Right.
and people think,
Yeah,
dude, that's insane.
But like we're there now.
you know what?
So in about 5-10 more years, we got to worry about Nick Cage really trying to go after our national treasures.
Trading faces.
I did see a podcast, and I was on Joe Rogan, of course, because that's who I watch the most, right? So I'm always going to quote a lot of stuff I see on there.
Yeah, podcast king.
Yeah, he brought somebody on the show he's a huge health freak, and he thinks they've discovered a way to reverse your age, meaning there's certain things in your body that help you stay young and look young and do stuff. Well, he's testing this kind of stuff, and he's 40-year-old man or 30-year-old man, and he's looking at it from
Is his name Vlad?
yes, and they've actually done studies, and it literally shows him like reversing his stuff from like being a 40-year-old man to like a 27-year-old man, and he thinks they've discovered some type of fountain of youth type shit that could be down the road, be like some crazy type of thing to make people last, live from 100 to 200 years old, because I think that's going to come down the road. We're going to live longer. It keeps happening, right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's been the trend. I'm not sure where it caps out, or
I mean,
what would be possible.
But it's
like,
crazy. Like when you're a kid, you want to grow up, But yeah, keep going.
Yeah.
Whatever you're talking about.
Well, it's like the technology keeps getting crazier and crazier. Like you guys were saying, with stem cell research or gene therapy, like there's no telling. Like I'm not sure what this guy's methods were or the means by which he did it, but like I don't know. I guess really anything is possible.
Yeah, I don't remember the actual study he was doing, but whatever they're making, it's a chemical,
Well,
right?
because that's the thing is
Yeah.
there's so much. There's so many different people around the world working on this, and it's just like I don't know or care what anybody believes in, except myself. I'm over exaggerating, but point being, it's just like because back in the Bush era, everybody made a whole whoop-de-doozy about stem cell research, and in America we put that on hold for years. Well,
Yeah,
they didn't
'cause,
do
like-
that in Europe or Asia.
No.
The
Right.
whole time we were on hold here, they were working on that.
Well, here's the point. I just looked it up. It was Mel Gibson, of course, our favorite actor, right? Before he went insane, he's been bringing his dad over to Europe to get these stem cell shit, and whatever his dad is dealing with or whatever, the stem cells have literally improved him by like 80%. He says he's like almost healed.
Well,
Right.
okay. For
No,
my
but it's incredible
understanding,
what they can do.
stem cells are like scaffolding that can adhere to like any other kind of cell.
Yeah, it can become like
it can
a
become
heart
any other
cell
kind. You're
or
right.
a arm cell. or
That's why
whatever.
they're so fantastic. I get why they're controversial, but like the benefit like outweigh like when you're already doing that,
Right.
it's like you already
Why
have
waste
this.
it? Why waste it?
Why waste it?
It
I
makes
know
no sense.
to
in my
me,
opinion.
it's when there's people out there that can. It's like like why not sign a card and say it's like what's the difference between that and a donor transplant? If that you consider that life, what's wrong? What's the difference between sacrificing an aborted fetus for stem cells when you sacrifice somebody in a car accident for all like eyes, body part, anything they can scalp if you're
sure.
a donor.
Right.
So that's what it was. It was it was like there was two things they were testing: stem transfusions and blood transfusions. And what they're doing is they're taking blood from a healthy young man, and he was paying these guys This guy was I can't remember the guy's name. Super rich dude.
Vlad,
Could have been
Yeah,
him.
it's vampiric.
Whoever.
Vlad Dracula.
Yeah, Draculia. He's paying these kids to do it and giving them stem cells, and literally it was like reversing his age. It's crazy to think about, and it's like, what the hell is going to happen in the future? I don't know why we went down this rabbit hole and stuff, but
No,
well, I
do you
think it's
remember
cool.
Gavin Belson
Who's that?
from Silicon Valley?
Yeah,
he had
so-
a blood boy.
Yeah, the blood boy. That was good.
Dude, well, I think it would be sick to have like a partial or whole robotic body. Where you're
Oh,
like-
cyborg.
yeah. It would-
I'm sorry, but
It-
you know what?
that would happen.
I would take a human brain and a robot body
yeah.
any day over another
Well-
meat sack.
Well, that's another thing people are talking about. Like people are like, oh,
like
you're
an
gonna-
android, like sorry to cut you off, but an android
be.
like David from Prometheus. Like
Right.
if you could just put my brain in like literally like
That
what
kind of-
look like an android like that, like
I think
They
it'd be
were-
sick to
to-
be like a big ass Terminator type robot with a human brain.
But I mean, it would kind of be it'd be weird to be a cyborg. Like if you died clinically and they took your brain and stuck you in a robot and you lived on and you had all your same memories and stuff, but you're a robot. It's like, well, like a RoboCop where he's freaking out because he's still got his wife and
Well-
his son and he can't do stuff and he's having these flashbacks of something that he can't
Right.
control. The conscience is still there, your stuff. So there, I don't know
But-
how true that would be.
Well, I would argue that though, like in that movie, though, weren't they saying that was like he was a trial run and that was the first one, and then they decided like he was a failure, right? That's when they decided to move on to just straight that robotic monster that killed everybody.
right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's like a mech walker.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Lieutenant Murphy was it Lieutenant Murphy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it gets like. blown
Yeah, dude,
apart
it's just
by
like
it.
because it's like I'm telling you, it's just like had they not wanted to advance that technology too fast. I know we're talking about a movie, but it's just like in the context of the movie, it's like if they were working on technology like that, it's like
But a lot of movies come to real concepts and real life things.
right, but just it's like keep workshopping that. It's just like I guarantee it's just like your 10th, 20th try, whatever. You would have got it down to where he's not having those things. I mean, obviously, if you want a RoboCop, that's one thing, but. Just to bring it back to what we were talking about, is just like, if it was like a real world similarity, is just like instead of going for, somebody obedient like a RoboCop and you're just wanting to put, a brain in a body, a robot body like that, but retain consciousness. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think science could get there as long as we don't blow up the earth before we.
No,
Yeah.
it would be sick though to have like just like a complete humanoid body with a brain. Your brain interfaces with it perfectly, just like a human body, but it's robotic.
Yeah, like Google Brain.
and you can still do every human thing.
Yeah.
That would be pretty sick.
I think, and I got to bring this up too because this is on a topic, something I had in my mind or whatever I was listening earlier about. I read an article today. Is something that's coming big, and I'm sure you guys have ever heard it. It's sex robots, right?
Oh yeah.
Oh, and VR
And
paired,
not even
or just the sex robots?
just the sex robots.
Just okay.
So I read the article, and there's a YouTube clip on there, and the girl actually she was intelligent enough to have conversation with him. He was like, "Hi, my name's Jeff," and she's like, "Hi, Jeff, my name is Wanda, whatever." Right? I'm just making up a name, whatever. And she's like, "What kind of stuff are you into? Like, what's your hobbies?" Like having a real conversation with them. Of course, she doesn't. She looks pretty lifelike, but they're not there yet, right? But the guy said, give it 5-10 years. And he's like, this is gonna be the new standard of people. If if people don't want to get married or they want to have something like a side chick for free, it's like they're gonna have a side. Instead of cheating on their wife, they're gonna have men and women sex robots or whatever.
And this is what scares me about AI is when humans quote unquote abuse technology like that or whatever. It's just like, dude, like because that's the big fear with AI. Once it gets sentient, it's just like humans are monsters that need to be annihilated. And that's why like there are like actually a few big smart people, Elon Musk being one of them, that is actually scared of the progression of AI.
Well, you
Yeah.
saw what's his name before he died this year. What's his name? The wheelchair, the real smart dude.
Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking. The last thing he said before he died, he said AI. He said, "What's the one thing that scares you?" He's like AI. He's like, that's one thing that's going to come in this world and ruin stuff. And the reason it is, and I don't know if I brought this up on this podcast before either, but we've talked about it in the past, and probably not on the podcast. But the problem with people doing AI, everybody's biased. No matter who writes the code or whatever, something partially in you. If I wrote something and Matt wrote something, if it could be legitimately 100% non-biased, they would still, your biased stuff would still pass on to them. So even if you're not racist, they might be like, well, they're Democratic or you're Republican or conservative. That kind of moral values will transfer over to it, and it's been proven with a bunch of the AI stuff that's been done now by people coding and doing stuff.
Because think of this: is
It's the way
humans are not created the same way as we would create an AI. It's just like we were born organically; they're
Right.
artificial. So like you need some sort of programming. But
Right.
yes, you make a great point.
It's with your beliefs. So it's like if you like Donald Trump and hate Hillary, even if you're not writing about that stuff, something subliminal will get slipped in there, and it'll literally spawn them and then teach another robot to be the same fucking way.
It's like your subconscious approach to like writing this AI script or
Yes.
something, like it translates.
If
I
you're-
got a great article that we should link in the comments on this or the description below
Yeah.
about AI bias that I literally just read today that fits exactly what we're talking
Yeah.
about. But
It-
I don't want to get into it, but we should actually link to
we
it.
don't get in the weeds about it, but that's one of the things people are hesitant. And they're like, we're not having people write AI, so they can't figure out how to write code without their biased stuff slipping into it. And it's really weird to think about, but honestly, it makes perfect sense because we all have our own beliefs on stuff, and that's just the way it is, right? So,
Well, how do you grow a baby robot to let it think on its own from the beginning? Like
Chappie.
I've never seen it.
It wasn't that good.
that was terrible. I'm gonna be honest
Yeah.
with you. It was cool. If I was a little kid, I'd probably like it, but not as an adult. I really didn't like
I
it at all.
thought, yeah, it was the dude who made District 9. I thought it was gonna be dope, but it was fucking garbage.
Now that we're on movies, I got to bring this up anyway because I talked about it last podcast. Today was the release date of Ocean's 8.
Was it?
Yes, and I was jokingly, my wife goes, "What do you want to do this week?" I'm like, "I want to go see Ocean's 8," and she was like, "Really?" I was like, "No." I was like, "I'd rather you kick me in the balls and feed me dirt." But anyway, I looked at reviews, and we're gonna look them up right now anyway.
Yeah, let's do
so
it.
IMDb,
I'm curious.
Of course, I hate looking at reviews because I'm not about reviews anymore. But we'll take it with a grain of salt and look at it. It's got, I think it got a 5.8 out of whatever. So out of 10, and some of these reviews. Let's go down the review real quick. Let's see what it's got. 5.8 out of 10 out of 2,000 reviews.
Okay, can I just say though, let me just reiterate, these are not bad actresses. Actually, this is a group. This is a pretty solid group, honestly. And if I can just interject just to begin with, it's like I think the problem without even seeing the movie was what I've touched on before is like you're recycling.
Yeah.
You're just recycling, and it's like, can we just please? It's like make something new.
Well,
Fair enough, yeah.
This guy said it perfectly, and I think, Matt, you can probably chime in and talk about it too. But before I let you interject, I just want to, right here, the guy said in the comments, lesson not learned, the return of the all-female Ghostbusters. This is like this first comment. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about it. It literally sums it up, And he's like, I'm not sexist, whatever. But he's like, it's the same thing when you did with, what's that movie? With Charlize Theron when she's like a hitman, but she's
Atomic Blonde.
Yeah.
Atomic Blonde or whatever. He's like, you had to put the feminist stuff in there and make her a lesbian. It's like no one cares about that stuff. So what were you gonna say, Matt? You had nothing to say?
I had nothing to say.
All right.
Oh,
Okay. Well, anyway, it's good to read. This guy just pretty much goes through. There's actually a couple of the reviews in here I was reading before you guys got over here, and it took probably about like, look at it's kind of an extended TMZ story, a total waste of time and talent, especially for Bullock and Hathaway, who have been in better roles. Do yourself a favor if you really must see it. Wait 3 weeks until it's available on Redbox. Pretty
Bullock and Hathaway, really? It's like Kate Blanchett was in this movie, you fucking goon. It's like you don't mention her. It's
Yeah.
like I don't care how bad it was.
I mean,
Kate
but
Blanchett's an angel.
look, I scroll down 3 more, and it's like yet another movie with the all-female cast that did not learn. It's like Ghostbuster remake with an
well, hold
Audacity.
on. Let me just stop you right there. You're making it seem like movies with an all-female cast are a bad thing. I
I'm
don't
not saying-
necessarily. No,
I'm
and
not
and that's why I just want to clarify here, just real quick. It's not that that's a bad thing. The bad thing is when they're recycling fucking franchises
Correct.
that to fit purposes. All I'm saying is like you don't need a fucking female Hulk. It's like. Why don't you build a new female character? I love new content. I'll
Well,
go
there
see a
already
new
was the
movie.
She-Hulk,
Well,
right?
they,
What?
There already was She-Hulk.
There
right?
already was She-Hulk, She-Thor. There already like right now. There's such a PC movement
Yeah,
at
there was-
Marvel
I th-
Comics.
I think there was like a
There-
series of Thor where he was a frog or something.
Well, I think there's a huge. This is what I've been reading, and from the reviews I've read,
If I could just express in words my scoffing right now.
there's a big backlash right now in Hollywood, and women feel like they're empowered right now because of the whole thing what happened with them. So like they feel like they're
with
entitled
what? With the like Me Too shit.
with the Me Too stuff and the
Yeah.
Harvey Weinstein stuff that went on. They feel like now that they have this.
well, I want
power-
to keep my job, so
Yeah, will you shut up? Okay, I'm just gonna tell everybody where you work. You know, shut up.
it's 2018.
So I mean, this has
Jesus
nothing,
Christ.
has nothing to do with that. It's talking about how.
Hillary's going to be the next president, so
Yeah, can I just talk
get ready
without
to
you
tuck your dirks
without
in.
intercutting me off, you piece of shit? So
Sorry, I'm just keeping you on your toes.
yeah, I'll keep you on your toes out the door.
You might be floating.
It just sucks because
Randy stings like a bee.
I just hate to see that these movies get recycled, like we talk about. I know
Yeah,
we're
definitely.
not going to talk about it that much, but it pisses me
That-
off that the feminist stuff that's going on in the world, they feel like they have to make a movie, so people would be like, hey, we made a feminist movie, here you go, and this like, well, we're releasing a piece of shit. It's like, why don't you release a good movie that empowers stuff with women if you really want to do it and do it the right way?
Yeah, make an original storyline with females if that's your goal or whatever.
Do I even need to say it out loud? But Thelma and Louise?
Right,
Yeah.
something like that.
Jesus
Yeah, yeah,
fucking Christ. Like, I mean, this isn't rocket science here, folks. It's like you can have, there's nothing wrong with an all female cast. It's
Exactly.
actually like, because
Exactly.
it's like, dude, like there's so many great actresses out there. And it's just like Hollywood is just a shitty place.
But it's like
Well, right now, especially, it is.
yeah.
if you made like it does you could fill in the blank essentially like
I got an
all
example for you
female.
guys, and I don't care if you disagree or not, but it's just like
I disagree.
the
Yeah,
next
me
Black
too.
Panther movie. If Black Panther is not the star, if like they really like
Not
made
My
a movie,
Wakanda.
made a movie about like his sister and the other the chick security guard.
They're already planning on doing that.
I think that's going to be good. I'm looking.
Well,
I think
and-
I'm
and
looking
it's
forward to
canon,
that.
too.
And it's canon. So
Yeah.
spoiler alert, everybody. Thanks,
Yeah.
man.
Hashtag not my Wakanda movie.
I mean, it's like all the comics have been out there. Fuck your spoilers. If
But I mean, I just think it's so funny. I don't know.
It just proves again. I think I'm a pretty good judge of movies, and by seeing stuff, and I know you guys are too. And it's like, as soon as I saw this trailer, I knew it was gonna be bad, and everything is written about. There's no storyline. The ending sucked, boring. Like in it, yeah, all the actresses that are in this. These are all good actresses. They're not bad actresses. It's just the movie plot line. It's like, why would you want to rehash something that's been done 3 times already, and that was already very
Right.
successful?
You know what I like was an all chick cast lately that, I'm obviously not the demographic, but Bad Moms, not 2, 1. I thought that
never
was
saw
good.
it.
I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah,
So I just had to bring
I've heard
it up.
that from multiple people actually.
It wasn't
It's-
bad. Me and Laura watched it not too long ago on the Fire Stick.
This was
whatever.
really crazy though about Ghostbusters because it was what Kevin Feige or Paul Feig or
Feig,
whatever
yeah.
the fuck his name was, and
That's just a movie you.
and then I just hate how politicized it was because they overly politicized it
They
on
definitely
purpose.
did. I just don't like. That's a classic movie you don't destroy and redo.
Well,
Like,
basically-
there's just some movies you can't redo.
So like I've actually never watched it, but like I've watched a lot of analysis of it. So essentially, like from what I understand, it was just the Ghostbusters template, like same backbone of a story, but he just tried to do like Bridesmaids.
I'll tell you what he-
but in
yeah.
Ghostbusters form.
Exactly. What he did was he did.
was just-
He's a one-trick pony.
Yeah,
Yeah,
poor
he-
execution of the film. Not
there was no story.
female or
There was
not.
literally no storyline or plot. They tried to mimic the original Ghostbusters, right? These females get together, they go and they're like, "We're gonna fight," and they take on ghosts or whatever. Because there's so many women out there fighting ghosts nowadays anyway and doing stuff. The point is, I'm really angry about this, by the way. This
I
this,
can
this was
tell.
one of the worst things that ever came out from movies because it ruined. Because it's like this is a childhood movie to me when all those actors. Are in the
I just
movie
remember the hostility. It was just so hostile.
because it was terrible. Like the movie itself, they tried to make it a funny Ghostbuster
And they were like-
movie that was just
it was-
not. You
but-
just can't do it, dude.
It was
just
like,
terrible.
if you don't like this movie, then you hate women.
Right.
That was
Exactly.
the
That
whole.
was what it boiled down to.
And it was just like,
No, I want a
and
good- I want a
from
good
the
product.
start, it's like, fuck you, don't tell me what to do. It's
Yeah.
like,
while we're
Right.
at it, why don't we just go remake Back to the Future and we'll make it an all female cast?
right.
oh,
a female.
thank
Doc
God.
Brown and
I'm
Marty.
pretty sure Zemeckis said that he will never approve remakes
Fair
of Back
enough,
to the
that's-
Future, and
I
that
like
I would hope that happens.
You know, Steven Spielberg, some guy made a fan trailer for the next one or whatever, and they were like, we want to do it. Michael J. Fox really wants to do one before,
He's
Well, make it part 4. Don't reboot, for the love of God.
No,
make it part
it
4.
would be part 4, and it said it would take a long time. And people are like, people want to see Michael J. Fox again. So I
is
don't-
Christopher Lloyd still alive?
yes,
He's just really old.
yeah,
And I guess kind of irrelevant or just retired.
yeah. I
at
mean,
this point.
yeah, he's retired. I mean, but I guarantee if they asked him, he'd come do a cameo.
Great
or
Scott.
anything to do it, get in the movie. But that was great. But yeah, off the movie topic now. Got some other topics we want to talk about.
Well, I mean, if he's getting back into the acting game, then can we get a Teen Wolf 3, please?
jeez, that'd be good.
Was he in the second?
No, that was actually Jason Bateman.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Chris. I don't know. I don't know what
Michael
I was
J.
Michael J. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pray the J
Yeah,
away.
because I was gonna say I was thinking
Spin
that
City?
He's not into.
That was a good movie show.
So I thought you were talking about Christopher Lloyd or something.
So I want to get this topic before we get off. So I know Sam actually reached out to me and told me this the other day, but David Goggins, this guy, it was on the Joe Rogan podcast. I listened to him today.
I have to admit, I got it from Matt.
And Matt, you gave it to us, so you can kind of give us the background about this if you want to deep dive into it, because it's a really good story, and the guy was really actually inspirational.
Yeah. So he kind of has a tragic story growing up. Basically, he was. His family owned a bunch of different businesses, like a bar, a skating rink, or ice rink, or something. And he
Roller
was
rink.
Roller rink, yeah.
Roller
yeah.
rink with a bar upstairs.
Right, yeah. And so he'd be out till 3 a.m. and never really did school. So by the time he was in high school, he had a fourth grade reading level. He wasn't too terribly smart, and not really driven because of he kind of had a fucked up childhood. But he transformed himself into the ultimate badass pretty much. He became a Navy SEAL. He went on to run super marathons, ultra distance cycling. I saw it was recently broken, but he had set up the pull-ups world record. It was thousands over 24 hours.
Yeah, if you saw
Crazy
his
shit like
hands
that.
after he did it, they literally he
said
pulled up through his skin.
Yeah, this was a 3rd-degree burn. It was
Yeah.
down to the bones.
Yeah. A testament to human willpower, and that's another. He unlocked something.
Well, yeah, I think that's the most important part of his story. Basically, is he's kind of just this average guy. At the time, he was 300 pounds. He tried to run a mile. He made it a quarter mile and quit. And so that's the type he was,
Yeah, a fat quitter.
a fat quitter. Yeah.
I don't think so. Interject with that. I know a lot of people, right? And I'm just gonna bring up one thing. It's a guy at my work. His sister. He always brings up this story. I'm not gonna tell who it is because just in case he listens to us, he'll know who I'm talking about. But you guys won't. She's one of those
Just
people.
give us the name.
Sam's. I'm joking. Anyway, he has a sister that always does the new fads with what's it called, workouts, right? So every week that she'll come out with some new fad and start a new diet, and if she doesn't lose weight within the first 2 weeks and doesn't feel like she drops 10 or 15 pounds, she just gives up and does stuff. So
Right.
it's crazy to think about that that people do that kind of stuff and just whatever. But yeah, Yeah, it's just crazy how many people do fads nowadays, and I think that's one of the reasons why people give up, because they go on social media nowadays and they see all these people working out and they're like, yeah, great, like you do this diet in 6 weeks, you're gonna drop 500 pounds or whatever the fuck
Right.
it is, and it's
It's
unrealistic.
unrealistic
It's
as
unrealistic
fuck.
because people don't realize that are really uneducated in the health industry or workout industry. It's like, how long do you think it actually takes you to actually gain weight and put on weight? Well, if you eat like shit, you could probably gain 1 pound to 2 pounds a week in reality, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to put on water weight, which water weight, you could lose 5 to 10 pounds of water weight if, when you're dieting too, right? But when people lose weight, like if you have a lot of weight to lose, yeah, you can lose 5 to 10 pounds a week if you're really working your ass off and doing stuff. But you're going to get to a threshold, your body gets retains it and gets used to it and remembers, and you start losing less weight gradually. And if you don't have a lot of weight to lose, you might be lucky to lose 1 to 2 pounds a week, and it
Right.
takes over time. So
No,
in six-
definitely.
In 6 weeks, if you lost 10 to 12 pounds, like that's really good. People are really like thinking like, man, this is the dream diet. Like you do this and you lose 20 pounds in 2 weeks. It's like you live in fucking la la land
Well,
if you think that kind of stuff's gonna happen.
So like
That's why I think people give up.
I've been trying to lose weight. I got up pretty heavy. I was like 280, and so like literally starting in January, I started trying to like eat better and work out, and I've lost 30 pounds in 6 months basically, or
That's-
5
that's
months.
awesome, yeah.
Five full months.
And
So-
that's like a healthy rate, right?
That's
Yeah.
a very healthy rate.
Yeah.
It took me last year 7.5, maybe 8 months to lose 40 pounds, right? So it's like that's normal because your body gets used to it, so you have to kick it up, and you have to. It takes a long time. It's not like you just gain 10 pounds in a month. Maybe you can gain 3 to 5 pounds in a month, but I mean because it's just the way it works, right?
Yeah.
It's just people are just. I think. People are so brainwashed with all the stuff that goes on nowadays because everybody's health conscious now because of social media and stuff, which is a good thing. I think that there's just unrealistic things they put out there because everybody knows if there's a magic pill to lose weight, everybody would just take that and they would eat like shit still, right?
Exactly,
And eat
yeah.
whatever they want and stay healthy. But there isn't. Whoever comes up with that pill is of course, is going to be the billionaire of the world.
Well, I mean, the Romans had the right idea. After at their feast, they would just eat till they're full and then throw up. I think they did that in the Hunger Games as well.
That's weird.
Yeah, just what's that called?
Intermittent fasting.
binging and purging.
Binging and purging. Yeah,
I'll tell you what, though.
it's up there with anorexia. Let me tell you, great ways to lose
I've done
weight.
a lot of diet fads, and
Yeah.
Have you really?
yeah, I've done a couple.
Have any ever worked for you, or were they all just? And let me rephrase that. Have any worked for you, and it was just temporary? Have any worked for you for like a longer time? Could you speak to any with any like
So,
positivity?
I've done 4 different diets, right? That are like fad diets. And the one I can speak to the most was the Atkins diet, which is low carb, high
yeah,
protein,
yeah,
whatever,
that
which
was
is-
big.
Which it works great, but as soon as you eat carbs, you put the weight back on, right? So
That was around the time of the fen diet.
And-
Didn't people die from that?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it had ephedrine in it.
ephedrine was really bad, right? So the problem with the Atkins diet is it's a good diet, but it's not healthy, right? To do it for a long time. Eating cheese and fat and like high protein shit, it's fine, but it's not healthy for your body to do, right? And as soon as you stop it, you gain the weight right
Well,
back.
it's like you need a
It's-
balance, like at a macronutrient.
Well, at macro level you
level.
do, and you need good carbs every day. Like your body needs carbs. Whoever came up that says you don't need carbs, yeah, you can lose
Well-
weight without eating carbs. But if you don't have carbs, you don't have energy to burn through shit.
What
and
do you
feel like
guys think
a
of the
piece shit.
keto diet? Because that's all about getting into fat burning mode. And I know
don't like
Joe Rogan is a proponent.
I think it's everybody's opinion, but it's like you do these diets, but you can't do them forever. Like the ketogenic diet, you can lose a lot of weight and get healthy, but you can't.
Because
do
I
it
got
for
a
long
buddy
time.
right now is doing it. By
What
Yeah.
does it entail exactly?
It's like
you limit you can only eat so many carbs a day. There's a hard limit on carbs, but then it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
you can go hog wild on fats
I
because you're switching your body into fat burning mode, not carb burning mode, and then
I've-
it starts digging in and just burning fat.
You're
From
right.
what I
Well,
understand,
you need fats, and people always just say, "Oh, fat's terrible," and they put all these labels on stuff that brainwash people. You actually need.
dude,
fats
you know what
in your
that
diet.
was, right? That was sugar industry propaganda.
Yeah.
Coming after fat, and that's why lard
So-
got
so-
phased out.
Right.
So no one got.
Yeah, so they actually
On their ass.
they've actually proved that the health pyramid is actually ass backwards, and a lot of shit's really fucked
Yeah.
up on that now. So they're actually changing that kind of stuff.
Well, I heard they changed it. It's more like kind of like a pie chart now, kind of like what would be on a plate.
Yep.
Just like the conceptual idea behind it,
Yep.
like how they're
Well, how
presenting it
old?
now.
How old was the fucking
Probably
pyramid?
from like the 60s or
30s.
70s.
You know what I'm
or
saying?
50s
Back in
even.
the time when they
Yeah.
thought it was okay to like, the U.S. military was like doing like tests over like California, fucking cities, like spraying like
Yeah, chemtrails.
chemtrails. Look it up. It's real. Flat pancakes. Hashtag flat Earth. Lizard people.
But I really do think on all the fads I've done, there's been two, right? I've had a
Yeah.
personal trainer, Ainsley Rodriguez, whatever. I'm gonna say her name, but whatever, because she's iconic. fitness girl.
Shaboingo.
Yeah, correct. And her diet was the typical workout diet: eat small meals, eat 6 meals a day, small meals to get your body in a fat burning state in your metabolism, which
Yeah, it
works.
just keeps your
Which, yeah,
more
I
balanced.
did for 20 weeks and lost
Yeah.
40 pounds, right, or whatever, how long that is, or whatever I remember.
It's like close to half a year.
Yeah, half a year or more, and which went great. But then my body got really like acclimated to it, and I was like,
Yeah.
you know what, I can't do this anymore. But I stayed on the eating habit because I just maintained what I was doing. Right now, I switched up to intermittent fasting because that's the new fad. And I was like, you know what, I think sounds retarded, but then I've been trying it for the last week and a half. I'm already down to like 7 pounds.
Are you really?
Yes, in a week I'm down. And
That's pretty
But
impressive
I'm
for
sure-
what you were at.
I'm pretty sure a lot of it's water weight, right? Probably
Yeah.
about 4 pounds of water weight. It's probably like 2 to 3 pounds really is fat, right? It's really hard because I'm doing the whole fast for 16 hours and eat for 8-hour window or whatever, which I eat from 11 to 7 at night, and then I fast from 7 to 11 the next day or whatever, right? Whatever. So I like it. The problem is my body's so adjusted to the other thing. I've been getting headaches and like feel carb deprived and whatever.
Right.
The cool thing about it is, and you read up about it, is after I've done it a lot, is when you go to sleep, within the first 3 to 4 hours, the last time you ate, within 3 to 4 hours, you've burned up all the food in your body, and then your body is in a fat burning state.
Yeah, it's
And-
just
'Cause-
going to attack
can
your
I-
fat cells.
Can I just say this out
directly.
loud? Because I
Yeah.
don't think some people understand this. Because I know people out there think that like when you lose weight, you like shit more. It's just like when you're losing weight, you're breathing out more carbon dioxide, like as you process it. It's just
Right.
like
'Cause
that's
that's-
where it's really when it gets broken down by your metabolites, it's releasing carbon dioxide.
Like when your muscles use up oxygen
Yes.
and carbon dioxide's the byproduct.
Correct, and that's how you actually lose weight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the best thing
People think
about
you shit it out.
you
If
kind
you
of
take a lot of diuretics, yeah.
You
that's
flush
how-
it out. But that's why they tell you to drink a lot of water in your diet, right? You're made up of what 80% water, 70% water in your body, whatever it is. And it's good because whatever you eat, you flush out. And actually, they do say like when you're sweating and doing all stuff, like what Sam was saying, that's probably the majority of the way. But you do kind of flush some of the stuff out of your body as
Sure.
well.
Yeah.
But when your body's burning fat and burning the reserves for that many more hours, so like within 3 to 4 hours, if I go to bed, say I go to bed at 10, by 1 or 2 o'clock, I'm in a fat burning state from 2 to 11 for like 8 or 9 hours. So, and that gets your stubborn fat too, like the shit that, like the brown fat that's off your body, it eats off that shit. I thought it was a hoax and bullshit, but I've literally watched like 40 things about it. It's legitimate, but you don't do it for long periods of time. That's another misconception. You do it for like 3 to 4 months, and then you just do like a healthy diet because it's not healthy to do it
It's
for
like
long periods
it's
of
like a
time.
jump start, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's get you where you want and you maintain.
Right.
But let me ask you: were you waking up and shitting at night, or were you breathing all night?
What do you mean? I'm,
That's what I'm joking.
Sam,
okay,
Sam's
back to
caught
my
up on the
point.
shits.
I thought
today.
you were being serious.
No, I'm just saying. It's just back to that shit I was saying. It's just like you breathe out your weight,
But yeah,
your
so,
weight
but
loss.
to
You
go
breathe it
back-
out. I'm telling
but
you.
go back to
I maybe I'm reinforcing it because that might be fake. I need to double check my facts.
Yeah.
Actually, take
Yeah.
that with a grain of salt.
But yeah, David Goggins, really cool guy. If you guys haven't listened to the podcast, listen to him and Joe Rogan. And
we should link that too.
I'll link.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I will definitely link that. And
It was
beca-
like inspirational to me.
well, the cool thing about it is and me and Sam talked about it. It's like he talks about it's not just being motivated; it's actually about being driven, right? And you have to have a
Right.
drive to get through anything in life, right? Like you can be motivated to do stuff, and Sam made a good point. It's like you can get motivated and get up, but then you can go back and sit right back down.
Well,
and do
literally,
whatever.
what David Goggins said. He's like, yeah, motivation is getting up to the door and opening it, and you're like, oh, it's shitty outside. So then you go lay back down. Being driven is opening up the door and seeing it's shitty outside, and you're like, all right, time to get started.
Yep. But I think you need to have both, right? I think it's a little bit both. You have to be. I think it comes first. You have to be driven first, and you still have to have motivation to do
Right.
it. Because throughout the day, you can be driven to do stuff, but you got to keep that motivation along the way. I think he was kind of making it both, but I think he was saying being driven gets you out the door. Like you can be motivated, say, man, I want to lose weight, but if you're not driven, you're not going to get there too, right?
Right.
Well, and also
Just like
he
the-
is a fucking madman as well. This is the guy. He's unlocked part of his brain where he just, what did he say? He calls it pulling out of the cookie jar when he zones out. Like
Right.
he just gets in the zone. This is the guy who,
He, like-
in a 100-mile marathon in 24 hours at his first 100-mile marathon at mile 70, he was like, I can't do this anymore. But
His feet, he had like stress fractures in his shins and like broken bones in his feet. It was like pissing blood and shitting himself. Yeah.
And it's like he powered through the last not 3 miles, 30 miles.
He
And
ran
it's just like
101 miles. That was to qualify for a 135-mile race.
right. And this ultra marathon shit's crazy. But
I could
what
never
was
do
his
that.
great quote? He's got a fucking fantastic quote. that,
Most people quit at 40%. I thought that was dope.
you know what I'm saying? Most people think their 40% like their 100%.
Right.
Well,
And
because
it's-
most people are satisfied, and I can attest to it. It's like you get to a point, you're like, man, I'm not, I'm satisfied where I'm at. It's like, you know what? I'm never satisfied. And I think he's said the same thing. He's like, I'm never satisfied.
Yeah, he
with
did.
work, right?
He's still at this age, like, because he was doing this shit back in 07, and it's
Do you know how many people? Do you know how many
He's
people-
40 now, and
do
he
you know how many
still is
people at,
driving.
Like work or people, my friends, still come to me and say, you've lost those weight, and you're in good shape. Like, why do you keep doing it? It's like, because I'm not satisfied where I'm at. It's like I was satisfied, and I think I'm good, but it's like I want to keep going farther. It's like. It's just a personal goal. It's like a personal thing, and to him, it's the same thing. It's like he wants to stay driven and motivated. It's like if I feel like the same thing with me, and maybe anybody, it's like if I stop and I just feel complacent with it, it's like, well, then I'm gonna go back to my old habits and ways. I don't want that to
I
happen.
mean, look at I'm not knocking anybody who said anything, but it's just like, yeah, you can stop, sure, and be mediocre. I mean, there's plenty of mediocre people out there. We can be mediocre.
I mean, there's
I mean,
nothing
but
wrong with if you reach your goal and stop and you're fine where you're at. But it's some people need that kind of stuff, and I'm one of those people that need that in my life to keep
I
pushing.
mean, I'll never be a David Goggins, but there are things I want to accomplish in life, and I'm not going to stop until I do.
Well, right. Like the idea is like not be just like him.
No, because that's insane.
Because he's like literally like damaging his body like
Yes.
severely,
Yeah.
pushing it like to its limits. But like just like the interesting thing about him is he's like showing that you can open up new vistas that you never thought were possible in your life, physically, mentally, in whatever aspect you want to look at it in.
Yeah, it just
That's what to take from it. Like is like have that drive to like.
And I loved what Joe's thing on it was, because he's like, everybody wants to know. It was like, just tell us what you do. And it's just like, this man has no secrets. He just told in the podcast. He'll tell you, he's like, I would just do it.
He
And
said,
he's just
I'm nothing special. I'm just driven. That's like
right.
a quote. from
He's
him,
not
yeah.
gifted. He's driven.
Yeah.
That's what he said.
That's-
That's so true, because it's like look, LeBron James. You can all admit there's these gifted people out there, but you can also not be gifted and drive. And I really do feel like you can reach similar levels as gifted people if you have enough,
Well, it's like-
motivation, drive, etc.
I could relate it to music, like playing music. There's some people that
You
are
weren't
born
weren't a
with-
fucking 3-year-old fucking
I didn't have-
Chinese girl
I
who
didn't
was
have perfect
playing
pitch,
piano.
You know, like
savant.
yeah, savant.
But it's like you can develop like a relative
Virtuoso.
pitch over time. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
some people are gifted, like they can hear all
Perfect,
the notes
yeah.
and know exactly.
Immediately, yeah.
Yeah, we used to know someone like that.
But yeah, it's like you can work at it enough where it's like you can basically understand where like a
Where
certain
you need-
tone is
yeah.
at or something.
Through practice grinding.
Right,
you know.
exactly. Just you just learn to know that that's where that sound is.
But that's like, but to Sam's point, it's like that in anything. It's like that in sports. It's like that in the work environment. It's like that pretty much in anything you do in life. You're either gifted and you have a talent for something, or you're really driven and you get to your point where you worked your ass off for it, and you might not be the best at it, but you made it to where you wanted to get to, right?
But I would argue, though, no, you can get the best at it through drive. You don't have to be gifted.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You can get it both, but I'm saying there's probably people that are super motivated and driven.
It's just
aren't
that the
best too.
gifted get there easier.
Right.
They don't have trials and tribulations. They just start there, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, regular people, it's like, yeah, it might take more work, but if you're going to put in the fucking time, you're going to reap the benefits.
Yeah. So another topic I wanted to bring up, and this is something I was going to bring up last podcast, but I just forgot, and I'm going to bring up this time, is I think me and Sam touched on it a bunch, and probably we haven't talked about it with you, Matt, is life choices. And I kind of want to save this towards the middle of the podcast because I felt like this was something good, and I think a lot of people can relate to it, to whoever listens to this out of our 4 listeners. But
They've grown from 2.
right. Is that I feel like
Hey, you two out there.
is that I think there's a point in everybody's life, right? You get to like a crossroads, and you get these life choices, and you can go down. This is like a fork in the road. To me, that's how I describe it in my head. And you're offered these choices. And for example, mine was, I could say, for example, I've always been really gifted at hockey, right? Since I've been a kid, when I was in 6th and 7th grade, I was getting scouted by, what's it called, like really top schools around my area to come play hockey. And I had full scholarship rides to go play at private schools.
Right.
And I got a choice. I had a choice to go play at these 3 private schools or go to public school with all my friends and play hockey or whatever. And it's like, if I would have went down the private school way, I probably would have had an easier ride to go to the D1 school colleges to play hockey, and maybe I would have made it somewhere. Maybe I wouldn't have. But I guarantee you I probably would have got the college that I wanted to go. Like I wanted to go to Michigan State or like Boston or whatever, because those are some of the top schools to go play hockey at, right? Back in my day, and that's probably changed now.
Wolverines!
Yeah, so whoever. Not the Wolverines, the Spartans. I want to go to Michigan State.
I thought, Michigan State, not Michigan.
Yeah, either way, I would have played for either one of those damn schools because they're D1 schools, right? And there's a lot of pull in to get into
Where
whatever.
anyone at the D?
But I went going to
Just one.
Yeah, just one D.
Not too much.
I went the public school route, and you know what? I don't regret anything I've done because it's actually, I had a great time in high school and met a lot of great people, and it led me
Yeah.
to this.
Yeah, because you
where I'm
didn't
at
get
now.
shot.
Yeah, that's true. But the point I'm making is, I feel like there's a lot of these examples you can bring
I'm
up.
sorry to make light of that.
No, you're fine.
It's 2018. I
you're a
gotta be
piece of shit.
careful.
I feel like we all have those type of life choices, and I think you guys probably have something in your life you could probably bring up and talk about as well. But I think it's a real thing, and I never used to think about it until I read an article about it, and it's like, you know what? There's probably a couple of times in your life you get these life choices, and I think I've had probably a couple I can name off the top of my head, but that's like one of my big ones. I feel like if I would have went this direction, I wouldn't be around. Who knows if I'd be friends with you guys, if I'd had the same job or what I'd be doing now in my life? Probably
Right.
wouldn't, man.
I'll tell you right now, failing out of college put me on the path I was now, which is way better than if I would have finished a 4-year degree in psychology
Yeah.
at a state university compared to what I ended up with, an associate's degree at community college, a job pretty much right out of school that I don't know, man. I feel very lucky, very fortunate, very blessed because I mean, on paper, anybody looking at it societally, especially the older generations, are like, oh, because everybody, the older generations put so much emphasis on college, and they're like, it's just like the traditional routes, and that's rapidly
parents
changing
did, definitely,
nowadays.
yeah.
It's very changed.
And it was just like, I felt like I was making all the right moves, but then it was just like in hindsight, it was like, no, I was burying myself in a fuck ton of debt for no payoff.
Exactly. And I was like, because like I have a similar story. Like I didn't know what I wanted to do, didn't really care at that time about college or school or, I was done with high school. Like I didn't want to go back to school. But yeah, then it was like, it took years to kind of like recover from that one choice essentially to like stop giving a fuck about school. And because like I did pretty decent my first couple semesters of college, and then it was like just kind of in burnout mode.
Yeah.
Just like didn't feel it anymore.
But I can relate to that too because after high school, I used to think in my head, I was like, you know what, I'm never going to college. I don't feel like I need to go to college because I hated school so much because of, let me rephrase it. I loved high school and I loved being with my friends and I had fun. I hated being in school because I just didn't enjoy being in class all the time and learning shit that I felt like was useless to where I wanted to go in life and learn stuff. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that they fill your brain with the knowledge that you just don't need to do. So also, you know, I didn't get a full scholarship to any school. Besides, I actually get a roller hockey scholarship to go play at Lindenwood, and I was going there to play, and it was terrible because you had a curfew, you couldn't drink, no drinking on campus, all that stuff. And I was like, you know what, I don't like this shit. So I got a job for a while at UPS to pay for school. Hated that, so I dropped out at the community college I went to. And I didn't go to school for a little while, and I got a construction job for 4 or 5 years, being a carpenter apprentice and like a laborer. And luckily, I got another life choice. Pretty much, you know, I met my wife nowadays, and she pretty much gave me an ultimatum. She's like, you know, I don't, you know, I really like you, but I don't like guys that don't have like a degree or don't have like driven, like doing stuff. Like, yeah, you're in construction, but this cannot be a life job. Like, you know, you could be laid off all the time. You're not
Or
in the
your
union.
body's going to break down at some point. Or,
Right. You know, and it's not like the older days when our parents grew up. It's like working in construction, you could make 30 to 50 to 60 bucks an hour and have a retirement and a pension plan and all that stuff. They don't do that anymore, most jobs. So I took the choice of going back to school, going to tech school, and
Yeah, I
landing
did the
the
same.
job I have nowadays, you know,
Yeah.
whatever. And that was another life choice. And I think it paid off more because now I'm not in debt like most kids. Because I've went to 4-year college, kind of like what he was saying earlier. It's like I'd probably be in debt by 80 to 100 grand, and I would probably failed out partying and doing dumb shit. And you know, I don't regret that. And I feel like that was another life decision I made, right? So that's just another example of what it is. And you know, I feel like we all have those things.
And I feel like that was the right decision for you. And like, I'm glad I work an office job, but I just want to say there's nothing wrong with trade jobs at all.
There's nothing.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I like my trade job. I got laid off. I was still planning on.
It
going
was
to
just
school.
this is, you know, there's going to be a resurgence of it, I believe. I know that I think around the time that you were in it, it was like right after the recession. You know, right after
It was
08,
during-
right?
It was during this.
It was just, so yeah, no, I remember before that, where it was like literally like every shitty job and a half. You go down fucking, you know, Mid Rivers, everybody was hiring, and then as soon as
Right.
2008 hit, it was like nobody was hiring, like nothing.
You were
Like,
lucky to get 40 hours.
Yes,
Right.
it was ridiculous, and I remember that still. And it was just like, and I couldn't even speak to what it was like for you guys, because it's like how much construction is in real estate, you know?
Well, luckily mine was all commercial, or not commercial, but residential, because it was townhomes and apartments, right? So there was always upgrading to be done. People moving in, moving out. So it was a full-time position, but it was a lot of shitty hours. I had to come in and work on Saturdays and Sundays and shit. I was always on call for stuff. But, you know, I was happy to have a job and have a paycheck and have stuff.
But the whole point of those trades, though, is advancing, you know, and getting to journeyman or however what the highest is, and
I mean,
yada yada yada, you know. But that's a life that's you got to dedicate your life to that. But
Yeah.
I would agree though, for people like me and you, it's like, and all of us, it's we're not.
Well, so I was doing like restaurant work for my hiatus from school. It's kind of like the same thing in a way that it's physical. Like, you know, you're rushing around, like bending over all the time, lifting shit, whatever.
I worked a restaurant job. So.
Yeah. But it's like, I know I
was a
wasn't suited to
prostitute.
do that. It wasn't like in me to do that for like my life job. Like same thing like that you were saying. It's like, is construction really going to be like a lifetime like?
Because that's a
thing for
commitment.
me?
Right.
That's a lifetime
Yeah.
commitment.
Yeah, yeah.
You got to work your way up. And it's just
Right.
like once you decide, it's like that's it. There's your chain. Whereas it's just like right now, it's like
I knew I wasn't
You
happy.
can-
By my 4th or 5th year doing it, I enjoyed doing it because I like being hands-on and doing stuff. But I got
Right.
to the point where it's like, you know what?
do you
it was
really
getting-
want to break your back? Because I
It was
know
getting- it was
people
getting
that
old. It was getting old, and I felt
there's-
like I was getting.
it wears your body down.
Yes, exactly. I feel
Doesn't
like,
matter what you do in trades. It does. It
That-
wears your body down, but
because you're out in the elements all the time. You're out in the heat. You're out in the cold. You're going out back and
it's
forth.
rough here in Missouri, folks. It's rough here in the elements
So-
year round.
But
Yeah.
like I was saying, like there's no wrong with trade jobs. I do love it because now that I'm in my house, I can fix anything in my house. I don't need to call anybody besides for like huge things like like HVAC and stuff that I'm just out of my element on.
Sure.
But yeah, that was another life choice I came to, and I made the right decision, and I don't regret it. But it just sucks because it's like some of these people don't have to deal with life choices. Like they're handed a golden spoon their entire life, and they just a lot of people can take it for granted. And I could name probably 4 people off the top of my head. They're my friends that I was kind of probably. I don't know if I was envious of them because they got everything.
Go ahead,
handed
just
to
say
them.
my name. I know you've always envied me. Just say it.
Yeah,
Just
it was.
admit
It was definitely you and your
I
brother.
was probably took up 2 of them.
Yeah, it was you and your. And
It was
your-
me, my brother, me again.
and yeah, and your cousin. So everybody, everybody in your family I envy.
All right, I'll shut up.
Uh,
Keep going. Keep going.
But anyway, the point of it is, it's like these life choices. I hate the fact that these people grow up in these environments where
Everything's handed to them, and they
Everything-
squander it.
yeah they squander it. And I feel like because of what I had to go through and what you had to go through and Matt had to go through and a lot of people that have to go through like they're more middle class people and stuff like that is they appreciate shit more growing up, and the people that are handed everything, they're the pieces of shit that don't appreciate anything. And you can see it on these TV shows where these rich fucking kids are on there. I don't care if it's a TV show or not. These are
Yeah.
probably how these kids really act like in real life.
And they cry when they don't get the
yeah, they
Well,
cry
Mercedes for their
Right, these are the
16th
kids that are going
birthday.
around with their croquis on and their fucking, their shorts and their flip flops and their pink T-shirt, pop collar, and they're like, "Yeah, my dad will sue you, so what's up?" Like, cool. Like I'm 28 and I'm still saying that. It's like, get a job, retard, and do something with your life.
Right.
Well, I mean,
That's how I really feel.
through life and struggle builds character. I mean, Joe Rogan, I forgot if he got in it with Goggins or who, but he was just talking about how you need some struggle and pain in your life. It builds character. And it's just like
Well, it's like a life.
Goggins
lesson.
was saying, he was just like, these people go through their life in their comfort zone. And it's just like, you're just, I don't know, man. I'm not saying you have to be an ultra marathon runner. I'm not saying that.
But you need to push yourself a little.
And not
You-
even just push yourself. It's just like if you don't ever have to overcome adversity or deal with somebody calling you something or just have anything, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's like,
just
yeah,
like completely cruise through life. I've always compared it to gaming in God mode. Any game you play in God mode, it's like
Right.
it's fun for 10 minutes.
But then it's like, yeah, what?
Yeah, it's like that's how I compare it. It's just like, look, I know life's a grind, but it's just like every game or every RPG I played that I loved the shit out of was a grind. You know,
It really
that's
was.
it. And sorry to be cliche, but cliches really are meaningful. Whether you like that or
Yeah.
not, they are. But it's just like it's not about the end; it's about the journey. And
But
it's just like, it's everybody. I feel like it's so quick to rush to something when it's just like, and I am too. I'm guilty too. But it's just like all I'm saying is it's like because it's hard to live in the moment and it's hard to like slow down. But it's just like that's where I feel like that's. I don't know what I'm trying to say. That's where the enjoyment is, dude.
But I can definitely, I definitely agree with what you just said because I feel like, what was it? Pretty much like people that don't have to deal with adversity and deal with that kind of stuff. It's like those are life lessons. It's the same thing like when you're.
It's
a kid,
kind of
It's like life trivial stuff where when you're a kid, you have a couple people you fall in love with, right? And you have to go through heartbreaks and bullshit to grow up and become mature. And it's like you just don't find someone and have to, not deal with that kind of stuff because you don't. That's just like a life lesson you never had to deal with. And it's the same thing with struggling in life, like getting a good job or going to school or whatever we've been dealing with. It's like if you don't have to deal with that, you don't appreciate anything in your life. You expect everything to be handed to you on a golden platter and spoon, and someone, wipe your ass for you too and say thank you.
Right.
well. I mean, look at yeah, dude. Summed it up right there. That's all I'm saying is I really do think it's. And look, I'm not saying it's a sweeping generalization. I guarantee that there's plenty of rich people out there that are rich and were born rich and they get pure enjoyment out of life through what they did and have meaningful lives with families. We're talking about the spoiled shitheads.
Well, yeah.
The ones who don't appreciate what they're given. And it's just like, those are the people that are going to wake up one day, unless they're
Sad-
really fucking conceited.
Those
They're-
are the sad
one
depre-
day they're going to wake up and be like, what the fuck?
Well, it's like maybe they won't because like they've gone so long under this programming, like Maybe they won't.
Maybe they won't. And that's it too.
They're
And
so
it's
set
just
in
like
their ways that
right.
they
But
just
you know,
My favorite people are the people that weren't born rich but became rich, and when their kids become older, they don't let them work for them. They make them make their own living, and when they
Right.
and then when they die, maybe they'll leave them money or the business or whatever, but they have to earn it. It's just not given to them. That's the right way to raise your kids. If I just one day won the lottery, of course I provide for my kids and whoever do that, whoever and people in my family, but it's like you're just not going to get handed all this kind of stuff. I think that's another problem with just our generation of people nowadays. That's what they feel entitled
Yeah.
to do that kind of stuff. I guess that's the way you're raised too, right? It is what it is. If you have maids and shit your entire life and you're growing up, you're not going to be a hardworking person. You're going to expect everybody to clean up after you. It's just the way it's going to, whatever. You're just used to it, right? And maybe it's not even your fault. It's a product of your own environment. Maybe it's your parents' fault for doing it too. But the point I'm getting at is back to life choices. I feel like we all have these life choices, and I just wanted to bring it up because I feel like it was a cool thing to talk about. I'm sure
sidebar. I also enjoy Lion's Choice.
yeah, I think I'm gonna go get some of that after this podcast.
So you know that's only in St. Louis, and there's like one in Florida.
There's one. I knew it was a St. Louis thing. I knew it started in St. Louis
Yeah.
and it never branched out. And it's like, I mean, when you throw down Lion's Choice against Arby's,
Dude,
it's like,
it's
dude,
like the most It's like Arby's.
I'll admit,
But
you
like-
walk into the place, you see the prices, you're like, what the fuck for like
It's
what you think is a
expensive,
fast
but-
food place, but then, I
You're
mean, when you
getting-
see them slicing the meat and
They roasted it that day. They
Yeah.
roasted like a top round.
Yes.
And are slicing it fresh.
yes,
Yeah.
so sorry to sidebar, but goddamn, Lion's Choice.
It
Yeah,
is.
it's good.
It just
man.
sounded like Life Choice.
And it's like a little rare.
It is.
Yeah, and they put like. The
And dude, they
seasoning on it.
okay. And if you eat inside, it's the best sauce bar. It's the best
Yeah,
sauce
they
bar.
got like au jus.
Fucking au jus. I think you can even you can even squeeze cheddar sauce, can't you?
Yeah.
Yep.
What other place lets you squeeze
I
cheddar
don't know, but
sauce out?
Gas station. But they
their-
charge you
their-
69
Their
cents.
seasoning salt for like their fries are amazing too.
Dude, the seasoning on the meat is amazing. Yeah, and the fries are good.
All
All
of it's
right,
good.
I'll shut up now.
Yeah, so back off Lion's Choice, because you're making me hungry.
Sorry.
So yeah, that was a good topic. Another topic I have right up. I'm this topic king right now because this is my podcast.
Topic king.
Everybody listen, this is my podcast.
Hot
so
topic
I'm
king
making
over
topics.
here.
Is I believe, and I think everybody's going to be 100% across the board in this.
I believe I can fly.
You done?
I'm never done.
All right.
I'm driven.
I feel like not our generation, maybe our generation, but this is what I feel. I feel like our kids growing up and the millennial kids now, because I don't consider myself a millennial, just to let everybody know, I'm not a fucking millennial. I don't group myself millennial. I think we're like the X generation or whatever the hell they call us, or Y generation.
We're not the X or the Y.
What are we?
Millennials.
Yeah, I'm not a millennial.
You know why they classify it like that?
Why?
Everybody who, I think, what was
Remembers 9/11.
it? Everybody who remembers 9/11, and it also had to do with technology. I think everybody
like-
who grew up with some form of computer.
So it's like if you were a certain like formative age during like these few major events, like 9/11 being one, there may have been like that electronics component to it. But
But here's what's
that's
fucked
how they
up
grouped
is
it. It's
what
just like a 16-year period or something.
what
like
other
that.
generation span that long? Because I always thought it went by decade,
It
and
goes by
it did go by
it goes
decade
by
until we
decade.
started getting to the 90s, and then after Generation X and Y, it was like, oh, okay, so everybody else is millennials.
Yeah,
Right.
no baby boomers or any of that stuff. But anyway,
Right.
I feel like
Some asshole probably just couldn't think of a name.
Yeah.
I mean, the government's been so shit. It was probably just some asshole sitting on his ass for 10 years. Your one job was to come up with a name for generations, but
Yeah.
he's been collecting check after
sorry,
week
he was
after
he
week.
was working on the Y2K stuff, and
He's still, he was still debugging Y2K issues.
I feel like and this is my topic. I think the internet has made the generation lazier, and the reason I say that is because our generation didn't grow up with the internet, but now the people that are growing up with the internet, especially the kids, are so lazy nowadays. That's why there's so many issues. And the reason I'm bringing this topic up is because I keep reading shit about stuff at schools, and I hear stuff about parenting and bullshit. And the
Bull
example-
stuff was fine. You didn't have to use the S word.
but the bull stuff goes into the bullshit. So, two different bulls, by the way. Yeah.
I'll stop.
But like, and here's my example. They're taking PE out of elementary schools, middle
Right?
schools,
Are you,
and high
weren't you
schools.
saying this or
Yeah,
making
that's
it
fucked up,
intramural and
though.
like optional?
Yeah. And that really bothers me that they're doing that right nowadays because that's like the coolest. That was one of my favorite parts of going to school. Is like,
Fuck
I
yeah.
don't have to learn anything and go out there and play sports or whatever.
On the little scooters.
And
I remember this.
Scooter hockey.
Okay, sorry. Sidebar again. I'll make it quick. We were playing scooter, or no, we were playing this fucked up version. I think it was a rain out day. So we were. It was like some fucked up version of kickball in the small gym in I believe middle school. Do you remember how there was the smaller gym?
yeah.
And they just put mats out as like the bases. So it was just like the dumbest shit ever. And I just remember this one girl with the skinniest arms. She couldn't stop. And she like runs into first base and like has her arms out and hits the wall. Broke both of her fucking wrists. Just running at the wall and just stopping. And I remember I forgot his name, but he was kind of a dickhead. And
The teacher?
yeah, at first he just made her go sit out before she could go to the nurse. But then eventually, I think, yeah, he let her go to the nurse and then found out, like, yeah, she broke both her fucking wrists. It was just like, I don't know how many stories I got for you guys of just, like, gym teachers or coaches being complete fucking
Our
assholes
friend
to
that
kids.
got punched and his cheek shattered.
Yeah, and he's like, what are you doing bleeding on my floor, boy?
Exactly. Yeah.
It was just like, yeah, well, don't worry. He got a settlement
Yeah, he
from
did.
that
He
school. But that coach never got fired.
No,
which
no,
was
or
fucked
reprimand
up.
Well, that's
whatsoever.
bad.
Right. It was just like, no, you should have lost your fucking job.
yeah, so the point, that's crazy. That's fucked up, honestly. To be honest, like nowadays that happened, the guy be in jail the next day, or even that day, and he'd be in court and whatever be going on. And you'd be getting sued from like the parents and
Oh, the parents would just be so.
Yeah, but and the reason I'm bringing this up is because I'm getting ready to have a kid, and it bothers me that I'm not going to let my kids be like that. I'm going to make sure they still go outside and play. Like the iPad stuff is ridiculous. Like it's cool. Give your kid an iPad. It's like a babysitter or whatever. I think I talked about this a little bit in the last podcast.
Yeah. But I mean, it's true.
But it is.
Yeah.
But with AI and everything growing, it is advancing our world to a cooler spot, but it's making people lazier. Now that we have door service for any type of fast food, literally you can go in your phone and order anything you want, right? And this is everywhere. It doesn't matter if it's McDonald's, Jack in the Box.
Well, I was gonna say
Whatever.
this is not the city. We do not live in the city where it was just like that was always common apparently. Because I remember watching Super Size Me, thinking like this guy's getting McDonald's delivered to his New York apartment. I was like, what the
Right.
fuck?
Yeah.
McDonald's delivers. It's like we've always lived in the suburbs.
That's because they're
But,
walking distance. They're not walking distance here, right? A little bit
Right,
easier.
but we're getting there even here in the
Yeah.
suburbs now.
Definitely.
In like,
Well, I mean, here's another example. Like, people are so lazy. I guess I like the cool convenience factor with a lot of stuff. I think it's cool when you have to use it, but like, now Walmart has pickup service for your groceries. Order groceries online and go pick them all up, and someone will do
Yeah.
it.
you all right, and you just pay online. You don't just pull up and they literally load your car up. You have to
Exactly.
do nothing
So
except.
yes, all grocery stores are going to this way. It's more convenient for people that are like pregnant or they don't have time to
Yeah.
shop all day, have a bunch of kids. It does make sense, but it's like, you know what? I don't want someone else picking out my
Disabled
groceries.
or elderly or whatever,
Yeah,
but
I get for all those points. That's
Right.
all legitimate stuff. If you abuse it and just do it every time,
but
that's
the,
what's going to go to, right?
the caveat.
Now
See,
you-
I think in a way it's like disconnecting though too, just in a general sense. It's like this new technology that's like super advanced and super cool and all this, but like it's taken away from like going in and interacting with people and like the human experience of pushing a shopping cart through a grocery store, that kind of thing.
It does because it's the same thing with. We can speak to this. I mean, not just being lazy, but being socially awkward nowadays. Like
Yeah,
people,
yeah.
like we talk about at work. Like people will pass by people and be on their phones and won't talk to people, and you can use that as an excuse. You go to, like you said, the grocery store or whatever. It does make people more antisocial with all this new generation of stuff, which is like why kids nowadays Snapchat and text all day instead of talking to people. Right? It's
Right.
more convenient. I get it. Like I like to text too and do all that kind of stuff, but I still rather talk to a person and be not socially awkward. I don't know. Like there's times to use the technology and there's times to not. And I feel like now with this generation of people growing up, it's becoming lazier. I know they want to do it for the convenience factor they say,
Right.
but I really think it's for the simple fact that people want everything automated for a convenience factor because people want things quicker. They don't want to wait, and that's why we have this problem with people being obese. and all these problems. Nobody wants to work and do anything anymore like they used to. Like, you never saw this as much when we were kids. Like when we were growing up, and even my parents and Asian people, you never saw the epidemic, all these people being overweight and having all these problems. I think a lot of it attributes to just the way the society is now with technology. And the internet's to blame for a lot of that stuff because it's advanced a lot of stuff. That's my point about this. And I think people can disagree, whatever. You guys have disagreements about it, but I really...
Well, did you guys mention online ordering?
That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, like
Sorry,
online ordering,
I
mean,
took a.
You can... Amazon does it too.
Khalifa.
Like, you know, Amazon, I love Amazon. I'm not going to say it because I don't like going shopping for shit that I can go on, you know, I don't want to go to Walmart all the time and get stuff or wherever I'm going.
Well, I mean, Amazon though is so like you can get things at Amazon that you can't get it anywhere else.
But you can get groceries now too, delivered to your house from Amazon. You can get whatever. I mean, that's the where it's going. It's like people don't want, like he was saying, what's the point of a grocery store? It's like, well, I want to go pick out my food. I like looking at the food that I want to buy and picking out. I want to.
Oh, I love the reminder of the choices capitalism gives you that you don't get with communism or socialism.
Right. I thought we were making this political today, Sam.
And I can't help it, but I love capitalism.
But I mean, could you imagine going to the grocery store? And this would really piss me off. This is why I'm thinking about it. You go up there, you pay all this money, you go home, and you forget like 2 things in your bag, and you have to go all the way up there to go get your shit again. It's like, you know what? I would just rather go in there and pick out and get my shit myself. Takes you what, 10 minutes in the grocery store, 20 minutes in the grocery store at the most.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie. The second to last time I went to Menards, I bought a new chimney for my barbecue pit.
Yeah.
And I left it up there.
Yeah.
And I never went back up to get it. Damn it.
But anyway,
Mine's so rusty.
I mean,
I really needed
I'm
that.
sure there's other examples you guys can bring up about the internet stuff, but I just feel like with the growth of everything going on, with the way cell phones are going and everything like that, it's like everything's just going to get so lazy around here.
Well-
It's just when my kids grow up, I don't want them to be one of those people. That's what I feel like.
Like say if it's a piece of information you want to know or something, it's like why study a subject and retain it when it's like everyone's got a cell phone in their pocket connected to Google. Just Google it and just like
I agree.
it's like in and out of your brain, right? It's like you know it for that time. You're looking up this fact or whatever, but like then it's gone. It's like less room in your brain for because we're receiving so much information, like news feeds or whatever, with like tons and tons of articles, like covering all different subjects and shit like that.
Garbage stuff that you don't want to read anyway.
Right? Yeah.
Anthony Bourdain took a shit in the woods.
well,
2 weeks ago, and here's his feces remains.
God, you foul.
That's the kind of stuff you see in the news or like the reports of like trash stuff. I'm just talking about. You know, I had to throw my trash can garbage stuff in there a little bit, and that was one of them. Now you lost your train of thought thinking about Anthony Bourdain taking a shit in the woods like a bear.
No.
But
What were we talking about before you said all that bullshit?
The internet and
just the internet and just how it's making things lazier, and just how he was talking about.
just how like you're fed with so much information, like your brain can't retain it all. So it's like why
I
know a
remember my
fact
point.
when you can just like
Well,
look it up on the fly.
It's like, do you remember in every math class you ever took, and they always said like, you're not going to carry a calculator around with you,
Oh yeah,
and it's just like, yeah, well, fuck you.
it happens.
Because we have calculators now at our fucking fingertips. And somebody explained to me how Texas Instruments still gets away with charging a fucking buku for their
$100 for
goddamn
graphing calculator.
graphing calculators.
The good ones are $200 to $300
Yeah.
now.
Still,
I remember
the
I had,
shit
like-
that was used 20 years before we were going to school.
Like the most basic one I had to have for this class was like a TI-80.
Yeah.
It was like $120 or something.
Yeah.
That was like the bare minimum you had to have.
So I'll be honest with you. That's one reason I left college, because when I was going to college for IT classes, and I know this is what about the internet stuff is off topic, but it doesn't matter. Those are the bullshit classes and stuff you take that you're never going to use. And I'll give this example, right? I got 2 examples I want to bring up because I think they're really good, and I think a lot of people actually can relate to it. Is one, I told my teacher, it's like, can you explain to me when I'm ever going to use these type of math calculations or the science stuff in a real IT environment? And he's like, well, if you're, doing some type of coding or doing something, it's like, well, I'm not going to school for coding. My degree is in this, so it has nothing to do with what you're teaching. This is why this elective is bullshit, and I don't want to take it. So what do? I dropped out of school and went to tech school, where you only have to take basic electives and do stuff, right? But before I dropped out, I went. Or actually, after I graduated from my tech school, I went to another tech school for my bachelor's degree. And in a database class, my teacher got pissed off at me because I was the smartest one in the class, of course, because I'm just that smart. Not really, but I'm already working in IT, and I already had basic knowledge of what was
Right.
going on. Well, he got upset with me because I signed up for a part-time class. The class was 4 to 4.5 hours long at night, and I'm like, this isn't part-time. Part-time should be 2 to 3 hours, whatever, for a classroom, whatever, because I'm not taking whatever. And the dean's like, well, you get 2 or 3 credits for this class instead of just 1 or whatever it was, because it's considered over a certain amount of hours of class. Well, I was doing during his lecture, I was doing the lab, and I always do it again. And as soon as he's done his lecture, I hand him my lab, and he's like, here you go. So during the class, he literally came over to me and told me, close your laptop and stop doing your lecture and pay attention. I said, no. I said, I'm doing this now. I said, I go to work from 7 to 3. I get off. I go home. I work out. And then I come to class from 5 to 9. I was like, that's not part-time. That's full-time. I was like, I'm doing a lot. And I was like, guess what? You're not paying me to come here. I'm paying you to teach me.
Right.
Right? I said, so if I want to do my lab during your lecture, I can do this. I said, I could go home with this book and do this. I was like, you're not teaching me anything I don't know. And I got in a huge argument with him, and he told me, like, whatever. And I was like, look, dude, fuck you. I'm going to talk to the dean. And I was like, you'll be lucky to have a job here after I'm done talking to the dean. Pretty much, I went to the dean. He listened to me. He agreed with me. I got my way. I was like, I can do my lecture in my lab. Because guess what? All the other teachers never gave 2 shits if I did my lab during my lecture. As long as I got it and figured it out. It's like, he's doing his job. I'm paying attention, doing it. The point is,
Do your fucking jobs out there.
no, it's just the
Don't
point.
give Randy no shit.
Yeah, the point is, it's like, if I'm going to school and taking these bullshit classes and I'm paying for it, then I should be able to have my my say so on this too. It's like, no matter if I'm paying attention to lecture and I'm there present, I can do my goddamn homework when I want to. That was my point I'm getting across, and that's
Yeah.
why I left. That's why I left that school too. I was like, you know what? I didn't leave that school, but I left that class eventually after I whatever. And I told that teacher pretty much go get fucked, and fuck you. You're an idiot. I was like, I don't even have to take this class. And the dean did agree with me, and we actually had a talk with him about it. He's like, what are you going to do? Like, he's doing his homework. He's got an A+ in your class. You're getting mad because he's getting out of class and he's not sitting here with everybody else to do their lab. It's like, sorry I went down this rabbit hole, but that was one thing about college that really pissed me off about a lot of teachers. It's like, I forgot, you're paying me to come to your class, right? He's like, no, but you're paying for my time to teach. It's like, you're right, I am. That's why I'm doing my homework when I want to do it. I'm not doing it on your time. I'm doing it on my own time. He's like, well, this is my time too. And it's like, yeah, well, I'm here paying attention. What do you want from
As
me?
long as you're not interrupting the class, I don't see what the problem is.
I wasn't. There's other people like watching Twitch and like doing shit in class, not even doing anything. It's like, and you're gonna give me shit because I'm doing my lecture or during my lab during your lecture. It's like, that's why I told him pretty much.
I mean, look,
I told him, fuck you.
How
pretty
many
much is what I told
kids
him.
in fucking high school, top of the class, kiss ass, teacher's pets? It's like always while they were talking, were they fucking working on their work or their work,
Yep.
Like,
I'll give another example. When I was in school, when I was playing hockey, I used to go to my first class in the morning because I get up and go to ice hockey practice at 6 or 7 in the morning, go practice, then I go to school, or sorry, early at 5, and I had to be at school at 7 or whatever because we practice for an hour and then go to school. I come into class, I had 100% in class, A+, and kids just get mad and be like, why does Randy get to sleep in class? You don't say shit. And he's like, because he's got ice hockey practice this morning, he's got an A+, and you got a D- in my class. So he's like, fuck you, pretty much is what he told him, right? Which was cool. Like, I got away with that. In my other class...
Randy, I want to see a report card. I need proof. Cite your sources.
I will. All right. Retard. Sorry, I didn't mean to offend any retards. But my last point was
Son of a bitch.
my first teacher I went to in my first tech school, guess what? Did the same thing, but I went full time. He let me do my lab during his lecture. I'd get up after 2 hours of lecture. I'd be done, hand it in, and everybody used to get pissed at me too and be like, why does Randy get up and leave? And he's like, same thing. He's like, because he's got an A in my class and doing good. He's like, and you're not, so get back to work. Pretty much. He was cool. He looked like the teacher off of Beavis and Butthead, the guy that Fly the Seagull guy or whatever.
Lesbian seagull.
Yeah. He looked just like him. And before I left school, I got a big poster of that guy, and his, I can't remember his name, but I put a poster in his room before he came into school, and put it next to his desk. He's like, all right, who put this up? And he knew it was me. I was like, I did that before I left. I want to make sure I give you a tribute before I left. But, yeah, back to my point.
You goddamn rapscallion.
I mean, the internet has made our generation lazier, and it really, but it's done good things, but it's done bad things as well.
Can I
No.
Interject?
No.
can I disagree
Yeah.
a little bit?
Go
A
ahead.
little bit.
I wanted to hear the
For the
rebuttal.
majority, I think it's made lazier. For a small minority, I think it has helped propel them
Well, yeah, I'm not going to
in ways that they couldn't have without technology.
Yeah, I agree, but I do.
But I would stipulate it's the minority that benefit, not the majority.
Right. The general public, I think, is kind of like,
dipshits.
yeah.
And
yeah,
I'm,
and
you know,
I think I think I'm more talking about towards kids because you see kids nowadays. Less people want to participate in sports, and we talked about this last podcast. Sports participation has went down in schools. Kids don't play outside anymore. Like I have a family member who says I live in a street where my daughter has like 40 kids that live in the street around the cul-de-sac, and like only 10 of them go outside and play because everybody's inside playing on their iPads and doing stuff all the time. It's like, dude, we didn't do that when we were kids.
Well, I remember I read a
Also a lot
meme
of
the other
anxiety.
day where they were like joking about how like during summer vacation, because I remember this even kind of, during summer vacation when it was like your parents wanted nothing to do with you, and the joke was it's like you'd be locked out of the house until dinner, and they'd tell you, you know, like don't come back unless you're like bleeding or some shit, you know. It was just like that was the joke because it's like it's just a different time. And I know a lot of fucked up things have happened since then, whether it be, you know, child abuse, abduction,
Yeah,
shootings,
molesters.
all this shit, because the world's going to shit. But it's just a damn shame because it's just like, you know, the freedoms that you used to have, like running amok, it's just like as a kid, it's like it's almost like you're forced into like this. But let me raise that question: it's just like, is the technology use out of necessity because the parents are keeping them in and there's nothing else to do?
Well, I mean, there was never anything to do. Like, you know, like my brother and I, we just went out and found shit to do, like back in the woods, you know, or something
explored
like.
and did stuff. Either if I wasn't,
But you know what I'm saying? If you limit kids from doing that, what else are they going to do? And then you want to say like, oh well, technology's making them lazy, but it's just like, well, what do you want them to do?
Well, I used
It's
to
not
get-
really of their own doing. You
What,
know,
I mean,
that's
I used to
like-
go get mischief and stuff. If I wasn't playing sports outside, me and my friends used to go explore and do weird shit, go in the woods, like Matt was saying, or go around the neighborhood and just do fun stuff, or terrorize and do stuff and be a piece of shit little kid. Because that's just part of growing up being a kid or whatever. But you know, if we didn't go to
I chased a goose once. I'm lucky it didn't snap back.
Was it his sin?
No, it was. I don't know what the deal was because I thought geese were bastards. And
They are. Well, they are if they're around like they're babies or anything, and if you mess around, dude, they will destroy you. Like some guy on our campus the other day just got bit by a goose and was bleeding everywhere.
They
Yeah.
actually can draw blood.
Yeah.
I've always wondered.
Yes, they can draw blood. Here's a funny story on Mark. When President Bush was president, he came on site to our campus at work, and a goose attacked him and bit him.
Really?
Yeah, because it was around his eggs or nest or whatever, the mom goose or
the clutch.
yeah. But yeah, that's that's the topic I want to talk about. I got one more, and I don't know if you guys brought any of your topics here today, but this is our sports one. I know Sam's not really into it, but we'll talk about it anyway. Is the JR?
Why do you got to say that?
Well, because I know
What's the sport? NBA?
yeah.
Fuck no, I don't give a fuck about that.
Yeah, see, exactly. Go back to playing your phone.
Fuck you.
The J.R. Smith play from the Cavaliers.
I heard he was high.
Yeah, he looked really high when he did it. And I'm sure, Sam, you've seen some memes and everybody posting around the internet. So
Yeah, you know I have. I mean, dude, they that was like hit major news. Like that was the top of like everything everywhere the day after
because
it
it's
happened.
LeBron, and if LeBron should be president.
So
after this.
just to clarify, he shouldn't have been running out the clock. He
No. He should not have been. He should have
And-
put it back
well,
up.
just to clarify,
and he ran out the clock.
so just to clarify, they sat there for about 10 minutes before that free throw shot. They took a timeout, went there to the free throw, and it was Grant Hill, whatever his name is, to take 2 free throw shots. He made one, missed one, or whatever. He made one at the time,
Or
missed
George
one.
Hill.
George
Grant Hill still
Yeah.
playing.
Whatever, George Hill. Yeah, see how much. I know
Wasn't
about
he in Space Jam?
that. No. That was Michael Jordan. And Muggsy Bogues and all those kind of people.
I
Anyway,
remember
Charles
Muggsy.
Barkley.
Charles
He's
Barkley.
like,
Yeah.
he's like, you're Charles Barkley. It's like, you ain't Charles Barkley. You a wannabe.
Was no, it wasn't Karl Malone. Who was the big guy in it?
Charles Barkley.
No,
The other
there's
big
a,
guy
there's a real tall
with
guy.
the flat top.
I can't remember.
Is it Patrick Ewing?
I think it was Patrick Ewing. Yeah.
Patrick O'Houlihan.
Okay, sorry to sidebar again, but the Man Show, Jimmy Kimmel's impression of Karl Malone.
That was
good.
good.
I'm Karl Malone.
But yeah, going back to that play, I mean, I love how all the memes are on the internet, but for being a professional, the reason I brought this up is because everybody in the NBA was like, what a dumbass doing all this other stuff. If that happened in hockey, because I'm a hockey player, every damn player on the bench would have came over and patted the guy on the bench and his back and said, it's okay, man, we'll get him next time or do whatever. This guy got more shit for doing this, whatever.
Right. It was just a mental mistake.
It was a game one. It happened.
Yeah.
You're in the moment. It's pressure. Yeah, maybe you looked at the clock. Maybe you didn't. They still had the chance to win overtime. The game wasn't over. Like, whatever. Yeah, he could have taken a shot. Who knows if he would have made it or missed it anyway. It's all the unknown. I just don't like how the sportsmanship with the NBA is like, there was no sportsmanship. No one was like, hey, man, don't worry, whatever. Everybody's holding their face like, you dummy, whatever. It's like, cool, dude. He's a human being. Yeah, he mentally said, I had a mental block. I didn't remember to score the game. I didn't know it. Yeah, that's what he said after this interview. It's like, you know what?
Yeah, he thought they were up. He just
He thought he thought they were up by one.
Yeah.
Well-
That's all he thought. You know.
From somebody who isn't into sports, more of a casual, the way I look at it is just like, I feel like NBA is it's all about star power and like selling shoes and products. It's not like, I feel like there's so much more emphasis on that. Like the stars, like, don't get me wrong, baseball, you still got stars, hockey, you still got stars. But there is still more of a team component to it. I feel like the NBA, it's like, look, LeBron James, you could argue, is carrying that team, correct?
he's been straight backpacking the team.
You just need, yeah.
And
So,
that's why
like,
they're
you need
getting
a
killed
star,
in the
one
finals.
star, and you can get the finals. You know, it's just like you need a whole fucking baseball team, a whole fucking hockey team to, like, coalesce to fucking get to a point where
You can only
yeah.
have one player carry. It doesn't matter what sport it is. You can only have one person carry for so long. You need depth, and you need a team to carry and help out in nights that you can't.
and he
do
get
every
yeah,
night.
and look,
do
because
it every
what
night.
is the score now?
It's
In
3-1, and then last game's tonight.
or 3-0. It's 3-0.
Oh, I'm sorry,
it's
3-0.
3-0
Yeah.
Golden State,
3-0
Yeah.
Gold State.
and it's just
I
like,
would
look,
assume they clinch tonight. If I'm just
I bet they
giving
win
my
by
opinion.
20 tonight. Easy.
well, by now I'm sure it's psychological.
Right, they're beat. I
It's
don't
probably
think,
the best thing for the Cavaliers because LeBron, I will say this, we've had to talk about it before, he's the best basketball player in this era, right? There is nobody better than him, right? And as much as I don't
When does
like
this era start?
his era when he started in basketball, I guess, right?
2003
Yeah,
or
whatever
4,
whatever it was.
was.
The point I'm making is he's going to go to a different team, whatever,
Like the
whatever.
Lakers, probably,
Probably
or-
Lakers, 76ers, or someone else. He's got so many choices. The dude makes $2 million a game.
Well,
per
it's like-
game, Sam. $2 million.
And they
No-
play 82.
Huh?
They play 82.
He
Right.
okay. So from my understanding, he was from Cleveland or
He
what?
was, he was from somewhere in Ohio.
Akron, Ohio.
yeah.
Akron, Ohio. So like, yeah, Ohio native. So that's why everybody loved him in Cleveland to start. And then he left, right?
Yeah.
To go
for
to Miami.
Miami.
Yeah.
Because
And then he
so-
came back,
so
and
the
it's
whole-
just like, and this is how you
It-
fucks repay him for coming back.
Well, here's the controversy around it, right? Everyone's mad at him because they feel like he's the first person to start a super team. Really, there's a team before them that started, hey, let's start a super team, put 3 guys together and do whatever. Kind of think it was the Celtics or somebody else before them, but they're old. They weren't in their prime or whatever. He's the first one to go, I'm leaving Cleveland to go to Miami to play with D. Wade, who was just like a little bit over his pride, and Chris Bosh, who was literally in his prime. And they won 2 championships, right? And now he left to come back to Cleveland. He won another one or whatever. And they're pissed because everyone's glad he came back and he did the loyal thing, but it's like everyone knows he's going to leave. Because either
Yep.
there's actually 3 choices he got right now. Either he stays and plays with them, like, and be loyal. He takes a year off to retire to think about his choices, ever to get mental clarity, whatever is going on. If he won, actually, there's 4 things. If he won this year, he'd probably retire, wouldn't come back because he'd probably be the greatest thing that ever happened in fucking basketball or whatever in the sport. And he probably would be deemed the greatest basketball player if he did this to carry them to a championship. Or the most obvious one is he's going to go to make more money, or he's going to go to win another championship and make another super team on a different team. Because that's what you have to do in the NBA now. I mean, there's already a thing right now. He has an option to go play with Golden State Warriors. It's like if he goes plays with the Warriors and there we have the super team,
If he plays with Steph Curry,
and Steph Curry and all those guys, no one will watch basketball anymore. They'll literally
it
kill
would be stupid.
It will literally kill basketball for the worst, right? He's not going to do it. He's probably going to go to the East where he doesn't have to play against Steph Curry and them, so they can be in the finals.
They would have to, start getting dogs to play to get people to watch again.
The reason I brought this up, yeah, J.R. Smith does look like he's high all the time. He made a bonehead play. I don't like how everybody's blowing him up like it was the worst thing ever. They're blown up because everyone likes to see LeBron lose.
Well,
That's
I
the
like what
point.
you said earlier. If it was hockey, everybody would have been like, dude, just no sweat. Same thing with baseball. I feel like it would have been like, dude,
You're out there trying.
you made a fucking mistake. You're human.
Guess what? The game wasn't over. If he made the mistake and they lost the game of it because of it, cool. They can blame him on the mistake, but guess what? That mistake didn't make him lose by 20 in overtime. Their defense and not shooting did. Like, that's just what happens. That's sports, right? It happens in every type of sport. Underdogs come back and win.
Yeah,
So-
this is sports. We're talking about people that make tens of millions of dollars, if not more, in
I
their
mean-
lives. I'm sorry that
mean,
I have trouble feeling sorry for
Exactly.
them.
I don't feel sorry for any of them, right? And but like you say though, I think basketball has taken a weird turn because I feel like they're the first sport to actually, or maybe baseball was, to start propaganda doing like self-promoting for like let's say like products to get money or whatever, getting sponsorship or whatever.
Dude, Jordan, Air Jordans.
Well, Jordan was the first.
That was the iconic fucking
that was
sports
iconic. That's why
item.
that's why he's a billionaire. But I think like,
Before it was always memorabilia with baseball. I would argue.
no, it was cigarettes. It was cigarette and booze. They used to do it like
Jesus, are we going back to the 20s?
well, if you were talking about original doing sponsorship, it was like Babe Ruth and them smoking cigars and doing shit or cigarettes for companies, and they would promote them because that was a cool thing to do back then. They still smoked and drank, and they promoted that, and that there was no healthy.
Well, I was
baseball
thinking
player or
more
whatever.
current. It was just like that's all I'm saying is just like you go to baseball, it's like they hit a ball out, or you can go buy souvenirs. It's memorabilia. You get shit signed.
right.
But it's just like, and I know there's the whole jersey, you go buy a jersey or whatever, but I just feel like that's different than like Jordans. I really do. Because
The thing that makes me mad about what you're saying though right now is about this whole thing is basketball is more about doing sponsorship than any other sport. Like, okay, if you're a top basketball player, like you're LeBron, Curry, or whatever, automatically got to make your own shoes, Curry's or LeBron's, or whatever, and then you have to go and make your own appeal for Nike or whatever. Because at the same time, they're not making just hundreds of $1 millions from basketball. They got to make it all from everything, and
Well-
that's what basketball is such a huge business. That's what they're more worried about, right?
I've always heard if you want to cut through the bullshit, just go watch NCAA basketball.
Well, yeah, they're billionaires too because they don't have to pay anybody, and they reap all the benefits, whatever.
Not the players, though.
No, the league. That's why they don't want to pay anybody because they're greedy, right?
Right.
They could
But
get-
I'm just saying, it's just like, yeah, if you want to see more, I feel like, yeah, like less like superstardom and more like, fundamental basketball.
But I know it's kind of boring to talk about this, but
It is.
sorry, but
Move on.
All right, we're moving on.
I'm joking.
No,
You can-
it was just something I wanted to bring up because this unsportsman shit.
It's topical, okay?
Well, it's crazy that's the biggest thing in news is JR did this thing, and there's more current events in the world going on, but we're talking about a guy who made a bonehead play because it's LeBron, and everyone's crying fucking wolf, and because everybody sucks his fucking cock right now for it. So that's the reason I'm making it. It's like you turn on ESPN nowadays. I used to love watching ESPN. It's literally
Don't watch ESPN. And dude,
I
I
watched
would.
because I wanted to watch sports when I was a kid, like watch the hockey updates on because there was no NHL channel, all that shit when we were kids. But now it's literally turned into LeBron ESPN. It's like if it's not LeBron, if you're watching the Boston or the Yankees or you're watching some other fucking big name team. It's usually LeBron for an hour on ESPN, and they might show hockey for 2 seconds and it's off.
Right.
And you watch sports, so you know how it is. It's like ESPN's literally died. People won't even watch it because that's all they watch.
I don't watch it anymore.
If I get my stuff, I watch on line.
Yeah, same.
There's another
same.
podcast. So actually, how I get my sports update now, if I really want to listen to it, I listen to Colin Coward or whatever his name is on the
Yeah.
Herd. Dude's amazing. He does a lot. Covers a lot of LeBron because he knows he gets a lot of stuff with it, right? But he does other sports as well. It's cool to listen to. It's kind of cool that he actually has an open forum, and it's not a PC thing to talk about. Well, I'm going to go with all the liberals or Democrats. He just talks about openly whoever's the best, whatever. It's unbiased, which is what I like. So, yeah, that was a good topic. Wanted to bring up the topic too. Last week we never really got the deep dive in it too. Was about the calendars and Sam's fall favorite one. So can we bring that back up? Can we bring that back? How about Joe Paterno? Can we bring that back? Donald Trump. Joe Paterno, Penn State. Bring that back. I'm
In
talking
the
about-
fall.
In the fall. Oh, man.
No thoughts on that, Sam?
Can you give me some thoughts about that before I bring it back?
No, keep going.
Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know. You guys had to bring some topics. I mean, I can't be the only person jabbered.
You told me not to bring topics. You had all the topics.
No, I told you.
son of a
I
bitch.
told Matt to bring some topics too off the dome. I wanted to hear something. Matt, say something.
I don't want to get
On
all
the
touchy,
spot.
but
Touchy.
I don't even know if I should bring it up.
Just bring it up. Come on.
Don't bring it
the,
up.
The whole Supreme
Don't.
Court, the Supreme Court case with the gays versus the cake shop. You guys hear about this?
I've not heard about it. So please enlighten me.
No, so like, due to the cake shop owner's religious beliefs, he refused to serve some gay guys their wedding cake or something.
Oh God.
And
So,
so like,
he's refusing to make money.
I forget, it happened somewhere in Colorado.
So stupid.
So it's like the Civil Rights Union or whatever there.
ACLU.
It was some other organization.
Okay.
I don't recall exactly who, but they took it all the way to the Supreme Court. And just really, my thoughts were like, what a waste of time of the highest court our government has to offer.
I mean, this is America. You technically, if you own a private business, you literally can dictate what you can and can't do. Right?
It's
So
as
no
simple
one-
as that. Yeah.
Literally, there's no one can tell you. Just like we talked about the other day, it's like if you work for the NFL, if you want to kneel, you're not going to play. It's like if you work for my business, I guess you technically don't have to do it. It's just like on Sunday.
Well,
Chick-fil-A don't have to serve food
Let me
on
ask
Sunday.
you. Let me just paint it this way.
Sure.
Why, as a gay person, would you want to go do business with somebody that inherently doesn't believe in your
Right, go find-
fundamental rights?
It's like
because someone got offended and they want to prove a point and say this is 2018, you can't do that kind of stuff anymore.
That's all I'm saying is it's just like if I went somewhere and somebody's like, no, I'm not serving you because of the way you are, you know what I'd be like? I'd be like, fuck you. I'd be like, walk out, and I'm going to go somewhere else where I do get served, and I'm not going to do business with them.
Well,
and
I think-
will spread
I
the
think
word that it's
with-
like I would campaign against their business
I
and
think
let
with-
people know
yeah.
how they are.
Exactly, that's what they want to do.
And it's
They-
just
they
like,
wanna
you know what? If you're okay with them, by all means, go buy all the cakes you want. But it's just like, if I know personally, from my point of view, if I was in that situation, I wouldn't have brought a court case up. I
I'll
would
tell
have
you-
gone to some place where I
I
could
would've
just get a
found another
fucking
shop.
cake.
I would have
Yeah,
found
yeah.
another shop.
Not
too.
just another shop.
But I mean, there's a couple things this guy could have done, and really he just fucked himself, really, because
He
one,
was looking for a payout. I really feel like they were looking
Well,
for a payout.
They're probably looking for a
Yeah.
payout because they got offended and they hurt, whatever. And
But it's the guy's fundamental beliefs.
right. You can't change someone's beliefs.
That
But-
was the grounds on which they ruled the
right,
case.
Right. The
was-
point I'm making is one. All people in the world that are liberal or PC or for gay rights or whatever, because I don't have any problem with gays or anything.
Yeah,
like
me
that.
either.
It's like it's going to hurt his business
Oh, yeah?
right there, right? So he's dumb for doing that, right? Because if you're a owner selling stuff, you shouldn't care about anybody's beliefs or whatever. All you care about is green. Like that's the only thing shit you
It's
care
the only
about.
color you care about.
Only color you care about. You'll
if
care
you
about anything
really
else.
care about your business.
Right. Like, who cares if somebody wants a wedding cake? Like, do you make wedding cakes? Cool. You don't give a shit if it's on there. You don't care if it's a shit cake. Here you go.
And that's why I feel like that guy's as much of an asshole as the guy. They're both assholes. This is
Yeah,
a case of
that's what
two
I mean.
assholes.
It's
Right.
like a big waste of time. But
Right.
it's like
Well, too, I think they did it for slander. They wanted everybody in the world to see, don't come buy cake from this guy because he hates gays. It's like, you know what? You could have just went on Yelp and did the same thing.
Exactly.
And been fine.
and it would have proved the same point.
Right.
Yet like
But also, it's just like, you're a business owner. Is business that good in a cake shop, really? You can turn away business?
If so,
Because if
probably
it is,
rare-
by all means, you have the right to refuse
Well,
service. But
I-
back to Randy's point, is the only color that should matter to you running a business is the green.
right,
I
I,
think
don't
that's
care.
fair,
I don't
yeah.
care what the hell you are. If you have a successful business, you want to keep it successful, you get what all the damn business you want, dude. If you make good cakes,
It's
for-
all about the customer.
Right.
It really is. You want to do a good job for the customer.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard anybody ever do. Like, first of all, yeah, if he has that belief, great, whatever. People aren't going to go shop your store. You just fucked yourself. If you really believe that stuff that wholeheartedly, just make a point not to go shop at that guy's store. Like, cool, there you go. He ain't getting your money. He ain't getting anybody else's money. That believes in it.
Because
As a consumer, that's like the best thing you could do to a business is just not give them
Well, I
your
mean, what was
money,
the chick-
right?
well,
Like,
that's the thing about capitalism. You pay, I love the idea
Money
of voting with
dictates.
your money. It's
or
just
what do they
like
say? Money talks and bullshit walks.
right,
Same
and it's just
difference,
like that's if I have a problem with the place, like I seriously I won't go back for years. I might be one person, but it's just like it's my little way of like it's just you did me wrong.
Well, it's
I'm
not
gonna-
like a whale drops all their money on like a common business. It's like it's like customer to-
because think about this. It's just like for a while there, I had a fucking shitty experience at Steak and Shake, so I didn't go there for about 3 years. And
Yeah.
it's just like before that consistently went there probably at least once a week. I'm not, like I said, I'm nobody special. I'm one person. I really get a lot of business, but I guarantee over those 3 years, they probably lost over $1,000 worth of business from me.
But it's like I'm sure there's other people frustrated by the same things, like long waits there. That's
Dude,
how
I've
it
done the
always
same
is.
thing. Me and my wife have done plenty of things. Like, I'm all about great customer service and whatever, but if you do something to do me wrong once, dude, see ya. I'm not coming back here. Like, fuck
Yeah.
you. Like,
I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna.
I'm not
Depending
gonna
on the situation, but it's just like most of the time, I'm not gonna raise a stink. I'm just not gonna come back.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's
we'll say something. It's usually my wife. She's very vocal. She'll just say whatever, and usually we'll get whatever free, whatever. But I'm like, it's not even worth the hassle. I'm not coming back here. How about that? You don't get my business. You know?
right. Right. It's what I love about this country.
If the
You have
consumers
the power
do
of
dictate,
choice.
yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I do like you brought up the topic because I do remember reading something about that or hearing you guys say something about it. I had no idea what the hell you're talking about. I think it was you, Matt, who brought about it. But it's like, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that happens like that nowadays. And the reason I want to bring this up, too, is like, what happened with Chick-fil-A? Didn't some Chick-fil-A refuse something about somebody being gay or something?
It was like
Same thing?
the founder or whatever said that he has a religious stance against gays.
Because he's Catholic.
Yeah,
Right.
or whatever he was.
Yeah.
It was as simple as that, but people got all bent out of shape
I know they
about
did,
it.
but it's like he didn't say he hated gays. He just said, I don't believe in gay marriage or something like that or something like that. It's
Right.
like, that's kind of stuff you just don't say publicly now. You can't
yeah,
say it now,
y-
right?
Yeah.
I just don't understand. It's like once again, it's just like, what do you gain to benefit?
You're alienating a significant demographic to your
I mean, you might
business,
be
know?
emboldening your people,
Yeah.
but it's just like
Well,
with
that-
a statement like that.
But
you're,
it's like I don't think there was a bunch of people that are like, I'm going to specifically eat Chick-fil-A because of
because I feel like shit like that only lasts maybe a month and then it tapers off.
if at all.
does.
Right.
I would think.
Right.
But like, there's like a gay guy I know that's like. He calls them hate burgers, but he still goes because like Chick-fil-A's so good.
No,
But-
that's
They're chicken. They're not really
it's,
burgers.
but it's really
They are
so
really good.
good.
I just don't. I just don't like the fact that we have to even make this an argument. It's like, great, what?
Because it's a free country.
Right, I know it's a free country.
supposed to be.
And
Right.
in the liberal PC world that we're in nowadays, you can't say or do any of this kind of stuff, and I get why, and they want to make everybody in their safe spaces and do whatever. The thing I just don't like about it is you can say one wrong thing, if you believe it or not, and you're slandered forever for nowadays. You're witch hunt for everything.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, the second you say something, or if they go back and dig up something on you years ago, it's just like you are crucified and you're never coming down.
Right.
No matter what you say, you apologize, kiss Jesse Jackson's ass all you want. It's just like you say one thing once,
Apologize.
and you are forever labeled that in their PC culture. And it's like, you know what? But if I've noticed this, you give them long enough, they start eating their own. Because it's just like you're not PC enough, and like they keep giving them like hurdles to jump, and they're getting higher and higher, and it's just like
It's like a gang.
it really is. It's disgusting what they
they're
do.
Like, kill this guy.
Kill this guy with some sugar.
They just keep pushing you more and more extreme.
PC-13.
PC there, that's good. I like that. But yeah,
We gonna jump you in.
and that was the point I'm making. I mean, Yeah, that was a good topic, man. I'm glad you brought that up.
I'm not. I
not
wish you'd
either.
shut up.
Me too. I mean, at least me and you brought some topics to the podcast. Sam just sat here and just
See-
wrote off the.
Fuck
coattails.
you.
Actually, we had some crossover. I was
It's
actually
about to turn
thinking
to
about.
crossfire.
It's about to turn off the cuff part 3.
Right.
What were you saying?
No, I was saying me and Randy had some crossover as far as topics. Like I wanted to talk about the high profile suicides as well.
Yeah.
That was one thing. Like
Well, it's just
I was thinking about
it's
talking
crazy
about
that
tonight.
It happened. 2 of them happened within 2 weeks.
I
One
know,
week of each
right?
other. It's like, when the fuck does that ever happen? It doesn't happen, right? I mean, probably suicides happen all the time, but not in A-list celebrities or whatever. Like my wife is all up in ears because Kate Spade died. It's like, well, there goes all her products going up in price, and it'll be inflated.
I thought you were about to say they're going away, but I could have sworn some other company bought her out not too long ago.
No, she still retains it. I'm sure her husband's gonna take it over or whatever. Or someone
You
in her
sure?
family.
I
Yeah.
thought like Gucci or somebody bought her out.
Nope.
So, did you guys know that her
Louis
husband
Vuitton.
was David Spade's brother?
Yes.
I was wondering how she was related to David Spade because I heard she was.
Yeah,
David
I
Spade's
didn't
brother.
know that until
And
after.
and they've been divorced for 10 months. I was listening to on the radio.
Isn't
talk
that
about
weird?
it.
No, think about this for a
Not
second,
divorced, they're
guys.
separated.
Think about
Okay.
this. So that Spade on all those goddamn
like
bags
David Spade.
comes from David Spade's bloodline.
right.
Correct. But you know what she does?
You know we got a chick pregnant around here, right? He's got a
Who?
kid around here.
Do you-
David Spade.
Do you know that
No,
David
I didn't
Spade
know
and
that.
Kate Spade and all of them are from Missouri, right? I hope you guys know
I
that.
didn't know he was
No, I
from
didn't know
Missouri.
that.
I just knew he got some local girl. He's got a kid around here.
No, they're from Missouri.
Well, that makes more sense.
So that's where I didn't know that. I was reading she's like Kate Spade's from Missouri. It's like, well, and so is David Spade and her brother. So I was like, cool. That's cool to know. Little fun fact.
I heard Johnny Hopkins and Sloane Ketterling were too.
Yeah, they used to smoke that shit all the time. I think it's something like that. He said, I can't remember.
I used to smoke weed with Johnny Hopkins and Sloane Ketterling.
Nice.
People don't forget.
Step Brothers.
Why do you go piss your pants like you did that time, Greg? That was like 8 years ago, asshole. People don't forget. That's my favorite part of the
The
movie.
fucking Catalina wine mixer.
No, not in that movie. It was in the movie with what's it called? Where they go
Superbad.
Superbad when they're going out to get the party and the booze.
Oh, I haven't seen
Dude,
that
well,
in forever.
you know, it's funny you mentioned that that scene because like
People do bring up stuff like that.
I brought something up tonight about the kid that took a shit doing a pull up in school. People don't forget.
I know.
It was like
And there's whoever
15,
there's
16
Greg
years
from
ago.
middle school and he fucking pissed his pants and fucking cried in class and it's like who who remembers that stuff? It's like people don't forget. It's truth.
Well, I know you guys experience this too. You'll just be sitting there and you'll just remember something out of nowhere, and it's like, where the fuck did that come from?
right.
Well, it's what's that word? I guess deja vu. Sometimes you happen. I think deja vu is a real thing. You happen. You feel like you've been there before, seen something before. It brings up
Dejan too.
Yeah, Dejan Mustard 3.
Dejan. I got a little on my shirt right now.
Yeah, that's not Dijon Mustard, buddy.
I'll try to play it off. We all know what that is.
Fuck you guys.
But yeah, it does happen. So I mean, I haven't had deja vu in a while, but when I was younger, it used to happen all the time. And sometimes they say when you have dreams or something, you'll have deja vu, like things happen. It's kind of like a premonition. I don't know if people think premonition's real, but I think that does happen.
Yeah, Final Destination.
No, not Final Destination, but
Yeah, death chases you if you escape it.
no, that's your wife.
My wife.
Like Sleep
Our crazy
Wizard.
our crazy ex-girlfriends. One of the
My
two.
wife.
But yeah, I don't know. Do you guys have anything else cool you guys want to talk about, or you just want to stare at me and pick your nose
Yeah.
I got some gold to dig for sure.
when you save it till after?
Why you got to
some
play me
hungry.
like that?
Homie, don't play that.
Snark me out.
So, I did.
Yeah, I want to talk about Harry Potter.
Yeah, see the new movie that's coming out.
I saw the trailer for it.
Oh,
What-
did you guys see the new Halloween trailer? I just saw that released
Yeah,
today.
it looks
I didn't
amazing.
see that.
It looks
I
amazing.
think that looks fantastic.
I told you guys like 2 podcasts ago that the new
Last podcast on the left.
no,
That's a real. I think that's a real
it was the
podcast.
last movie when I
That
told
sounds
you
like a
that it was
movie.
coming out. So
Everybody's got a podcast.
Yeah, it's about sick shit. I
there it is
think.
right here. It's kind of loud, so I hope you guys can hear this on the podcast.
Was that Jamie Lee Curtis I saw?
Yeah.
It was.
I don't care if they can hear or not. I just want to look at it real quick. We can discuss
Yeah,
it.
that's fine.
He was shocked. something you might like to see.
This actually looks really good.
Family turns into a nutcase this time of year. I mean, your grandmother is Laurie Strode. She was almost murdered.
Wasn't it her brother?
You know what's crazy thing is that house where they did Halloween, there's no one that lives in that house. Like it still is like an abandoned house. I heard
No shit.
for movies and stuff. Like someone tried moving in and they've just moved out because they're too creeped out by it.
What the hell did you do that for?
Are you? I thought that was the Amityville house.
It was or something like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Of course, classic. They're escaping from the mental house.
Well, it's
Yeah.
produced by John Carpenter. They should have directed it yet.
He's doing it. I don't think he's helping do this.
Well, yeah, he's producing.
Excuse me, somebody's in here.
Hello?
Oh, shit, dude.
Man, this looks good.
He's waited for this night.
You're gonna have to go take.
He's waited for me.
I have to go take some girls to go watch this and scare them, Sam. Your mom and sisters like to go see this.
Fuck you.
You don't believe in a boogeyman? He's here! Michael! You should.
Is she gonna die yet or what in these movies? Hey,
Sam got scared.
that looks good, man.
I was expecting it, but
So
Yeah, it
it's
looks
good.
pretty good for
And
sure.
it's coming in Halloween, which even makes it better. So,
hey, that's pretty good.
hey, that's pretty good right there. You know what I'm saying? So, yep.
Well,
Well, I think that's enough for the podcast. If
Yeah.
you guys want to hear some cool more topics, please post in our chat that no one reads or looks at, just besides the same 4 people. But
one day we'll have 5.
yeah, 5. I'm gonna get your.
He's a dreamer.
He's a believer.
And then there's all our face.
Okay,
I don't even. Just stop it.
so
It stopped.
all right. So are we stopping, or are we just gonna keep going?
Well, I mean,
Let's go for another hour.
nah.
Everybody wants to listen to us talk about some more ranting, some more stuff.
Nah.
So, all right. Well, hope you guys enjoyed it. Sam is ready to pass out.
Stop listening.
He wants to stop talking.
Just cut all that out.
All right. We'll see you guys at Dave and Buster's next week. We'll be live from their casting. We're going to be recording Sam playing first-person shooters and throwing little
I
kids
want to play
around.
shuffleboard.
We'll play some shuffleboard and eat some pizza and
Drink some beers.
blackout drunk and just start kicking kids.
White out drunk.
So, yeah. I'm definitely calling your work now, buddy.
Yeah, your ass is gross. Dude.
All right, see you guys.